All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
With all his Gator stuff on, so we know what he's going for today. We'll get to that game later on. That's our game of the week. We'll get that to towards the last hour of the show. We'll get a little bit more time with that one. Montez is part of the Thursday night Hoosier Huddle and Real Talk. He's one of our new analysts on board. So Montez, introduce yourself to our fabulous audience.
Dre Montez here from St. Louis, Missouri. Huge sports fan. Huge sports fan. I did talk radio for 15 years, been podcasting for 4. I'm very passionate about the sports world and the entertainment world. I don't look at the games the way the normal person does. So that's my twist on my spill on sports.
That's good. Yeah, we have a lot of games. We have over 70 games today. I counted them. We might not get all 70 games in.
You might not see your girlfriend today.
No, if we do all that, then we might be a little bit, kind of hard take on it. So, but let's get started here. We got over 70 games today. Montez, this is your first time on the show, and also the first time on the Fox D network. So we are streaming live on that.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. And can you tell my audience about yourself?
Myself is Ray Cruz. I am a veteran. I retired from the Navy in 2012.
There it is. Navy men here.
Yeah.
2 Navy men.
I've been dealing with sports since I was 5 years old. I used to do stats. My teacher got mad at me in elementary school and middle school and high school because I carried around a notebook and had everybody's stats from.
So you organized your first fantasy football league at 10 years old?
Yes. Matter of fact, let me tell you a little bit about myself here. I used to go outside when I was a kid, and I used to play basketball. I used to be all 5 teams on the home team, all 5 teams on the visitor team, the TV announcers, the PA announcer, the crowd, and my mom thought I was crazy. So, yeah, I've been doing all that since I was 5 years old. I've been a huge sports fan. That's all I, lived to be. That's always wanted to be a sportscaster. So now when this technology of podcast came in place, it gave me a platform to actually be the broadcaster I wanted to be.
Doesn't it feel good to do what you love?
Yes.
And people call that a job.
But I mean, if we can, and then in the found Freddie about March after my mom passed away in February, I found Freddie he was advertising for things. So I got on the network in March of this year. So, I've been on here for a while. I am the human resource manager and the web developer for the website that we're on. So we're also live on the website too. So, you got all the platforms going today. You got the TV platform, you got all that. So, we're getting ready to break down here the games of the week and stuff like that. So,
gotcha.
I picked basically about 17 appealing games today to go over. So, but we want to go ahead and do the recap. The Thursday night recap. We have one game on that thing. We had the Ohio versus Louisiana game, in which Louisiana won 49-14 over Ohio.
The Raging Cajuns?
Yes, the Lafayette version. So
Lafayette.
Yeah. So I want to get your take on that game. Did you catch any of that game, or?
I watched the highlights of the game, but I have an interesting story about the Raging Cajuns.
Okay.
So I used to play competitive softball for 25 years. I used to travel. I got paid to play ball. Sponsors, whole nine. So I played in a softball tournament. Shout out to Shreveport, Louisiana. I played across the street from that stadium at a tournament. with my team from Shreveport, Louisiana, and a tornado was coming in. And I've never seen the purple ripple in a cloud before. Never in my life. Never. The people that were from Louisiana were not freaking out. Man, I lost my mind.
Wow.
So I rode with the Raging Cajuns anytime, any ball game. And they have a great fan base. Love the cheerleaders, love the party crowd, love the town as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this game, you know, you got to look at Montreal Johnson. He was a freshman. He rushed for 4 touchdowns, but they were very short. The one from 6 and 3 other one from 1 yard out. But he had a career night as
he's
a
a good
freshman.
third down back though.
Yes, and a short yarder back too. And you know they couldn't stop him all night long when they got in that short distance of goal, 6 yards out. They couldn't stop him. 1 yard out, 3 times they couldn't stop him. The quarterback Levi Lewis passed for 212 yards for Louisiana Lafayette. The short touchdown runs for Johnson comes from I mentioned 6 yards, 1 yard out. Johnson did finish with 13 carries, 84 yards, and 4 touchdowns in this game. What do you think about that freshman running back for the?
Anytime a freshman can get on the field in college football, it makes me know that the college coach or the recruiter had intuition. They saw something in this young man that needs to be on the field, and maybe his attributes can help us move the ball. And when a freshman can get those short yardage gains, that's real important. So I like the upside of him. I really do.
Yeah, I really like the way the freshmen. I mean, because if they do want to redshirt, they still have the opportunity because you got up to 5 games. You can't play in more than 5 games to get a red shirt. But I mean, he's promising. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think he's going to forego the red shirt. I think he's going to play as a true freshman because they need that short down back in their offense to make it work.
Are you a big fan of the red shirt policy?
Me, to me, I think the red shirt is great for certain players because you get the chance to see them play and give them a little bit of college experience, not much, but a little bit. But you don't want if you have somebody, if you're like a 2 or 3 deep in that position, and you get a blowout and you put him in the game to see how he reacts. In college, you get a good level what you're gonna have in next 2 to 3 years. So to me, some red shirts are great. Some red shirts are not. Like for instance, for North Carolina, we had Grimes who came in out of Norfolk, Virginia, and who was actually reclassed to the last year's class. And he was supposed to play his senior year of high school football, but he was in the Tar Heels. So they played in the last 5 games of the season. He became out pretty good. So he didn't lose his red shirt, but he also played. And now he's a full-time starter on our secondary. So I think it helped him out a little bit because he got some game playing time and he knows the speed of the game now. And I think it helped him out for the start of this season.
Here's what gets me about the redshirt program. It seems to me, as you mentioned, I had no idea you were going to mention North Carolina, but to me, North Carolina and Virginia and maybe Nebraska and maybe Florida State and Miami, Ohio know how to utilize the redshirt classification. And this is just me just thinking off just the top. This was not written down, they even thought about. But me just thinking free-spirited right now, I think those college institutions really get a true justification of utilizing the red shirt program in its whole intentions.
Well, yeah, for North Carolina purposes, Mac Brown, when the red shirt came out, he was on ESPN.
Oh, he got to go.
As an analyst. He was on ESPN as an analyst. And he learned the red shirt thing, and then he instituted it when he came back to North Carolina. And, I mean, North Carolina's football under Larry Fedora started out pretty good.
Yes,
and then tail in at the end when he started getting all his recruits, and he just mismanaged some of the teams, some of the concepts, and not getting a good defensive coordinator when the former Auburn head coach stepped down and went back to TV, and it just did him in. But when Matt Brown came back, it brought in more recruits. He was a great recruiter.
He's a hell of a recruiter.
And he's
like Wilford Brimley to me.
Yeah, he's a game management because what Matt Brown does, he lets his assistants run what they're supposed to be running. The offense coordinator runs the offense. He'll give them advice here and there, and he will ask them questions while on the side, and that's how they learn. under Matt Brown, and I think to me, Dre Blyde is learning more from Matt Brown right now, and I believe when Matt Brown steps down, I think they're tooling him to be the next head coach at North Carolina.
The Carolina football program has come a long way. You know, they're predominantly known as an ACC basketball team, men's and women, and soccer team as well. But I looked at something through North Carolina a few years ago. If you look at the size of the athletes on the offensive line, the linebackers and the safeties and the corners, there's something of a rare anomaly that I like to call, like, maybe these guys came here to play basketball, but somebody told them to come over here and play football. Look at the size of these guys.
Well, the defensive line, the linebackers and stuff, they were high school basketball players, but they knew they weren't going to go nowhere, but they were better in football.
There it is.
So Matt Brown, what he does and what he's done more than any other college coaches in North Carolina, he goes around to all the high schools. He don't care if you're a 2A, 1A. He goes around and introduces himself and gets into the, head coaches.
See, that's that old school.
Around. Yeah.
These new coaches are going to the internet.
Right.
They're going to Instagram. They're going to TikTok. They're going to YouTube. They're going to Facebook. They're going to Twitter. That's how they're recruiting with these newer guys. I like the hands-on approach. I may knock Matt Brown because of his age. He's lost the game. But at some point, you got to go back to the book of what I mean, and that is the manual transformation of calling offensive plays and defensive plays and getting the job done. And I think somewhere in the middle, all of us, get caught up in the technology world and forget about the basics of the game.
Yeah, and if you watch Matt Brown coach, sometimes he'll jot down stuff on old school on the note on his pad and stuff like on. He don't have a notepad. He just has his sheet and he writes everything old school, and he writes mistakes and stuff like that, and so he can get back to him on holds him to discipline. And under Larry Fedora, Carolina wasn't really disciplined because they had a lot of issues, off the field issues under Larry Fedora.
But the defense was always stagnant. They always had a top 15 pick in a draft. Think about that.
So, and I mean, if you look at it, they were undisciplined. I remember a couple of games when he went down to Duke University. And, to me as a Carolina fan, I don't like seeing teams tear up somebody else's locker room and stuff like that.
Let's back up the train here. You just told me you're a Carolina fan.
I'm a Carolina fan, but I don't like him going. I don't like him going down to like Duke University or somewhere because they did Duke wrong. They spray painted Duke's locker room. I think they did over $170,000 worth of damage in there. I don't like. To me, I was brought up in a generation when I was playing football that you respect the other team and you go and you take the other team's locker room like it's your own locker room. You keep, you make it better.
The cheerleader of the opposing team. That's how I was raised. So. But I mean, the way I was raised was we showed team sportsmanship during the game, after the game. Some high schools don't do that because I can remember one high school in Roxborough, North Carolina, Person County High School. We had to have North Carolina, textile country of America.
Yeah, we had to have cops actually lead us out of there. Our windows got busted with rocks thrown because we beat them so bad. I got tormented because I didn't mean to hurt the quarterback, but I tackled him and he landed on wrong and he got hurt and he didn't want to play no more rest of the game. And so, they take their football kind of a little bit serious there, but the coach told us, hey, even though they're gonna handle us outside, you clean up the locker room, you make the locker room look nice, you make it look better than what you found it. Gotcha. So I mean.
It's crazy how high school football is looked at in the South and the Midwest and out to the left coast and the right coast. To me, I was raised in a generation where you respect the opposing team and the athlete, competitive competition, all of that. But in the bitter end, if you turn around and look at it, playing on Friday night versus Saturday mornings is a big difference. Big difference. Oh, yeah. Your high school sports. In the South, pull that shit together like I've never known before. I never thought I would go to a high school football game and cheer as though I'm at a college football game or an NFL game.
Yeah, I went to. Yeah, when I went, getting a little bit off the topic here, but when I went to see the Dallas Cowboys and Jaguars game in Dallas, being the first time I went to Texas. Actually, it was the second time I went to Texas. First time was San Antonio when I went to a high school. I thought it was at a college stadium.
Wow.
They had 25. They said about 25,000 people in this one high school stadium. I thought it was at a college game myself, but well, we had 4 games on Friday. Let's get back to the show at hand here. We had 4 games on Friday. We had the UCF versus Louisville, and Louisville took a role in that game. I'm going to set a little bit of stage here. The final score was UCF 35, Louisville 42, but one play turned that whole game around in the last minute of the game was the pick six. Gabriel threw it off the guy, deflected it right to the defender in Louisville, and he ran it back for a touchdown to win the game. So what was your thought on that UCF game? And first, before we do that, I want to find out, in your opinion, do you think UCF is going to be you think they're contending for a Power 5? Because they're about to join the Big 12. You think they should be a Power 5 team?
See, I'm two-sided on this. And great question, by the way. I don't think Scott Frost should have left. See, I don't think everybody needs to go out to that open position that they think they should have, but they're building something stronger here. And yes, I think UCF should move up. But you got to be understanding of the game of football. Yes, the objective is to outscore the opponent by different maneuvers and what do you have to do, but that TOP is important to me, that time of possession. You got to utilize that to the right situation. And sometimes I think they get caught up in their own madness.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, just like we saying right there about Scott Frost, he should never left. I agree with that. I think some coaches think, hey, we at UCF, we can't win championships there. We got to go to. It's just a stepping stone to move them up to the next big program. And I understand why you went back to Nebraska, but it's kind of hard when you go back to your alma mater and have success. I mean, there's very few. I mean, Matt Doherty went back to North Carolina, head basketball coach, and he didn't do great. Warren Williams came back. He did great. He won two national champ. He won, national championships while he was there.
You're a Carolina fan, so I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to say nothing about Roy, on my opinion. I'm going to be respectful.
I mean, to me, I think on the same situation with Scott Frost, the same situation with Matt Doherty, he shouldn't have left Notre Dame because he had success in Notre Dame. He should have kept that program going instead of leaving. But like Scott Frost, like you say about Scott Frost, it's kind of hard to go back to Lincoln, Nebraska, and redo what you did in college. To do it, you got a lot of pressure on your shoulders. You got to recruit. If you don't do it wrong, you're gonna be under a microscope. At UCF, he wasn't under a microscope. He was there as a head coach. He was,
people forgot who he was. Yeah, he transformation from a quarterback to the secondary on the defense for the NFL football Jets. He went in a booth a little bit, but I will go get people that can help me do my job better. You can't coach in college football alone. You need a team. And I don't think he understands that right now. Again, bring the black shirts back.
Yep. I agree with you. And, we look at the UCF game here. Dylan Gabriel, he had an awesome night, 21 of 28, 188 yards, he averaged about 6.7 yards and 3 touchdowns, but that one key interception cost him the game. And do you blame that on him or do you blame that on the receiver not catching the ball, deflecting?
COVID has affected a whole lot of things on the one-on-one workouts, getting to know your teammate. So that to me is on the receiver, not understanding the play, the situation. I know we have a short period of time, like officials have to review a call to play on the point of contact, but I feel as though the receiver should have known to cut that route down a little bit more. Yeah.
And then on the other side, quarterback Malik Cunningham, he was also terrific, 23 out of 38 for 265 yards, 7.0 average with 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also rushed it for 13. He also rushed for 13. He carried on 13 carries for 99 yards, an average of 7.6 with 2 touchdowns and rushing. So, 1 touchdown pass and 2 touchdown rushing. So do you think Louisville is a team to beat in the one of the teams to beat in the Atlantic Division of the ACC behind Clemson.
I think there's street credit for playing Louisville or beating them or being competitive against Louisville. It's kind of shedded down the past 3 or 4 years. But 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, yes, that was a stepping stone. I think Louisville is going back to what we have known Louisville to be known for: basketball, baseball, soccer, and biology.
Well, they did.
The process is going down.
They did get the coach from Appalachian State, the one that actually beat Michigan. You know,
I was at that game.
Yeah, in Satellite. So, I mean, to me, I knew some friends from Boone, North Carolina.
Oh, I love Boone. They got the best moonshine on the planet, and those college students know how to party.
Yeah, and, you know, they also got Tweety Railroad and Grandfather Mountain up there, too. So,
footnote.
You know, I'm from North Carolina, so you know that's one of the.
I used to live in Charlotte, in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yeah,
I was a truck driver down there, and I actually started my radio career down there.
Yeah, my former high school coach, when I first started high school, he went to Thomasville High School to coach.
I know Thomasville very well.
Yeah. He went to
capital of America.
He went there. He was the coach that always in the wintertime always wears shorts and a long sleeve shirt.
You know who I love watching, and not to get off topic here, but we're still talking football. High school football in Carolina. I got a chance to see Chris Leak, CJ Leak, and Muhammad Massaquoi. I got a chance to see those guys play high school sports.
That's right. You know, my biggest thing is I played football against Rodney Rogers.
Oh, street credit.
At Durham Hillside. I also played against Nate Means from Hickory, North Carolina.
Woo!
In high school.
In the building. Yeah.
So I played against him. I played against who else I played against? I played against a couple other people. I can't think of their names right now. They didn't make it to the pros, but they made it college.
What position did you play?
I played middle linebacker and I played offensive line.
There you go. So, that's awesome.
Until I got injured really bad, and then I joined the Navy. So my football career was over, but you know I still like playing sports. I still play. You know I still hang around everything. I watch basketball. My sister played volleyball. Me and my sister used to play volleyball together on the 2-man volleyball team. You know, a 2-man team and beach volleyball.
I was a black arch guy. I used to love beach volleyball when I was stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii.
Yeah,
I played beach volleyball every Wednesday.
Yeah, so, but you know, and then the other game was the Maryland game. Let me see. I got to look.
You're the turtle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they should have stayed in the ACC. That's my opinion. Going to the Big Ten, I understand what.
Then the Big East or the Big Ten.
Then the Big Ten now.
Big Ten. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know they did that for financial gain anyway. We know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so but Maryland went on and won this game 20 to 17 over Illinois. The one highlight play I caught was the fumble and the pickup 6 for Illinois on the
score.
Yeah, so what do you think about was it Tagovailoa's brother, the quarterback? Is he going to be the next big thing in college going into the pros?
You know, usually I tell athletes, follow your brother's path. I want this one here. Don't do what your brother did when it comes outside of the game of football. But when it comes to preparing for the game, understanding the knowledge of the game, and utilizing the tools that you have to win the game or manage the game, go with that. But the other part, it's still going to be a learning curve for him. It's still young in his career right now. Both of these institutions have given something different. Illinois always produces great offensive linemen to the NFL. I appreciate that. I play competitive softball with a guy whose son played on the offensive line, my man, Venus Slaughter. There it is for him. His kid played on the offensive line for Illinois State when Lovey was there. Now Lovey has moved on to greater pastures in the NFL. But still, I think if Illinois get the right person in order, that college university will go far.
I agree too. They had a good start against Nebraska, but that's Nebraska for you. We'll talk about them here in a few minutes. But I mean, you got to understand they did pretty good on that. The defense was pumped up. I think it was because it was the first game of the season. It was back from pandemic. They had a crowd there, playing in front of a crowd. I think they just got them amped up. But then they went and lost their last, 3 games now?
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. We got to call in a priest now. We got to get Rudy on this. We got to get the natural on this. We got to bring somebody of a higher order to come in here and help us.
Now, if you look at it this way, if you look at Brett Bielema is 12-1 in opening day games. Okay, he has a Brett Bielema, the head coach of Illinois. He's 12-1. That's including the win over Nebraska. An opening game, he's got a winning record. Should he just think about every game as an opening game? Because after that, he's plumb awful after the first game.
See, to me, when you're a big boisterous voice like Billman, and you move on to another job with a little bit more high profile, it may not be the way you think it will be, but there's still a high profile position for him. I think now he's looking back at how he acted in the past, and I think now he's trying to grow up, and I think that's hurting his coaching style and approach to the game, and the kids who are affected by that. We need you to be that dude before you got here to us.
Right.
And that hurts a lot of players because we, as fans and people that talk about sports, the alumni, the boosters, we put things on these people based on the past, and I think that's unfair.
Yeah, I kind of think that's think that the same way, but I look at it a little bit different here too. You're a new head coach. You're playing with the other coach, even though Lovie Smith did recruit some good players and stuff like that, but his players are not really there yet because he got the job kind of late. He didn't get a chance to recruit this year. His players, he got a few of his players, but
it's like dating a woman with kids and you don't have kids and yell at her kid.
Yeah, so now his coaching style is a little bit different. He's got that Wisconsin state of mind because he coached at Wisconsin. He's got that run mentality first, and everything else comes second.
That's a great point. So
do you think is the talent that he's got right now don't fit his scheme and is kind of hurting him right now?
I use this analogy a lot. You remember this toy when we were kids? You had to put the circle in the circle. Yeah. You had a hammer to put it in there. Yeah. I think he's trying to put the rectangle in the circle. You can't make people do something they don't know how to do, and you get mad about it. You got to utilize these players based on their capabilities and what they can do. Can they read a defensive coverage? Do they understand of letting the play develop and open up for them? The hesitation room, the step back. You got to utilize the players for what they're bringing to the team. We don't have that much time with college athletes anymore. We don't have that 4 or 5 year plan no more. We got to get this done in 2 to 3 years now. And they're coming at a shortened high school season. Lack of accessibility with the right attributes to help them get better. We got to think about all that. Now you want to come to my college institution and I got to implement this plan to you? No, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I understand that too. So we are at this point right now where we're going to have to do a commercial break type deal for our Fox D Network videos. We got 2 videos here, so we'll be right back after these 2 messages.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back. to the ASAP College Breakdown Show. I'm Ray Cruz with Dre Montez. So we're getting ready to break down now our Saturday competition. We're getting ready to break down here. And, of course, the first game we're going to talk about will be I'm going to set the stage here. We're moving and breaking our first game today. It will be Nebraska versus number 3, Oklahoma. This game is played at noon Eastern Time in the Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma on the Fox Network. Dre, what do you think about this game?
I think this is the classic tailgate where grandpa and your great uncle get into a fight because they're going to talk about the days of yesteryear. Tom Osborne, the Black Shirts, Tommy Frazier, that whole scenario with Nebraska. Then you got Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner. We understand that. This is going to bring back, like last week, that Texas-Arkansas game. This is for the old school rivals. But I got a huge upset here. I got Nebraska winning this game. They're going to look at the coach when they win this game and like, this is for you, coach. Stay with us. We're on your side.
I understand that. My key symbol of this game is Nebraska quarterback cannot turn the ball over through fumble or interception. That's the key in key moments of the game. Oklahoma defense is still not that great because a team like Tulane was in the game from start to finish, but Oklahoma found a way to win that game. Oklahoma played the outman Western Carolina team last week, and they stomped them 76-0. That wasn't even a competition game. It wasn't even. That was like a Division II. That was like a high school playing a Rokidoke team, type deal. Because my sister went to Western Carolina, so I know the type of athletes up in Cullowhee, North Carolina.
You've been name dropping, by the way. You're a Carolina fan. Now your sister went to Western Carolina. What else you going to bring out of your repertoire?
I got a lot. You ready for this? So,
go ahead, my man.
So we talking about Nebraska. They played, what do we think about Oklahoma's defense right now? That's what I want to. That's one of the questions I want to ask you.
It's still too early for me to decide because Oklahoma can score a lot of points and they give up a lot of points. But what the defense responsibility is based on who they're playing right now, great question. It ponders me on how do you attack this Nebraska team with a quarterback that fumbles and throws a lot of interceptions, makes the wrong decisions. Do you sit back? You let them show you all the money the first quarter, the second quarter, and make adjustments in the halftime and come back third and fourth quarter and turn everything around, which Oklahoma has been known to do. So I'm in the air on the defense with Oklahoma. That's why I'm picking Nebraska to win this game in an upset.
Well, we got to look at it this way, too. Nebraska 2 wins came against Fordham and Buffalo. They lost to Illinois, the other Power 5 conference. They got the Sooners this week. Next week they got Michigan State. So I mean, how do Nebraska improve themselves in the quarterback spot? We know how Aaron Martinez is. He looks sharp the last 2 weeks because he played against. I don't know what you call these two teams. You call them a high school team. You call them a Division II college.
We call them the institutions we gave money to play you. We gave you an opportunity to get yourself on an NFL reel. To get somebody to look at you. That's what I call when every time we look at a game like, what the hell? Why is Alabama playing Mercer? There's money involved.
Of course.
But on the other side of that as well, we want to see what you can do when you face lack of talent. Are you listening to the media? Are you listening to me? Are you still doing your job? Can you finish the goal? Those things right there are what I'm paying attention to. When anybody plays somebody that we all say to ourselves, what the hell is going on here? Why are they playing them? I know it's about money, first of all. But still, there's a learning curve. Either we got to get over hump, because when you play those institutions, they're not bringing a defense or an offense that you've seen before because they're trying to get on TV, be in all the videos, do something out of the box. You're going to see something that you have not seen from your Power 5, your conference, nothing at all. And some of those teams that have a close game or have a difficult time, when Alabama played Alabama A&U, I think 4 years ago, and Saban was pissed at halftime that they only had 14 points. You remember that game?
Oh, yeah.
because they were throwing different defensive blocking schemes on them that he had never seen before. And they didn't practice or even prepare for that. So he changed up everything the second half, and they won like 56-3.
Right. So we know about in-game and out-of-game adjustments and stuff like that. Now, what do you think about Martinez's chance today against his Oklahoma defense?
You got to manage the game, and I know it's a lot of responsibility on a college football player. That's a lot of you got to manage the game. Utilize what the defense is giving you, meaning by that, field of possession. Where are you getting the ball at? You got to get it. You got to score points on every possession. That should be the mindset, whether it's a field goal or getting that touchdown. You have to score on every possession or pinpoint the opposing team in negative field position within the 20. That's what he needs to learn to do in his young college football career. Manage the game.
Now, Martinez, do you think Martinez is having trouble actually reading the defense himself? Because some of those turnovers are just like bone-hitting mistakes. I mean, I watched one turnover, he just threw it right to the guy. The other guy, his receiver wasn't in the spot. So that's just telling me that he doesn't know the playbook, or the receiver just ran a wrong route, and he just still decided to throw it that direction.
I think he grew up playing the Madden video game era. Like, he's just hitting the X. He's not letting the receiver finish the route or seeing if the receiver is open, paying attention to the defense. Again, we're giving the offensive people, here's how the play should work. But what if the opposing team has a defense to cover that? Then what are you going to do? And that's where I think Martinez is at right now.
Yeah, Martinez, to me, he doesn't look like he goes through his regression like he's supposed to. I mean, he targets one wide receiver and he just throws it, and then the defense starts reading his eyes because quarters are taught to read the eyes of the quarterback. And if he stares down the receiver too long, that gives the quarter a good chance to break on the ball and pick it off. And I think that's some of his mistakes there. But I'm going to look at the other side of the coin here. The Husker defense must put pressure on Spencer Rattler. If they don't get pressure on Spencer Rattler, and he let him sit there because he's averaging over 16 yards per throw so far this season. It's gonna be a long day for the Husker defense if they start getting these big plays down the field.
That's a first down every throw. Even if you get a personal foul, he's still putting you in position to achieve the goal. Being that negative, even 26 yards, he's giving you that negative 10, which would make it 2nd and 10, and he can still achieve the throw. And those are those intangibles of the game that the coaches of college football have a great job of doing. But you are right. Nebraska got to put some pressure on him.
And when you put pressure on Spencer Rattler, even though he can move and he's mobile and can move around, you can't come straight at him. You got to come up the field a little bit and then box him in with the other side coming up the field too. You got to play your lanes as your defense. You got to play like assignment football. It's like an option assignment football when you play against a running quarterback, because if you don't, if he gets outside the end, he's gone for about 15, 16, 17 yards before anybody realizes that he's just broke away.
Yeah,
so,
touchdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at it this way, they got to play assignment football up front. They got to play their lanes. They can't come out. If they start getting – if Rattler starts getting out and break containments and stuff like that, it's going to be a long day for him because he can throw and run at the same time. So that's a lot of pressure on the Nebraska defense. But look at the Sooners defense too, because you got a running quarterback in Martinez, but you also got to think Martinez sometimes leaves the ball on the field more than he does protecting it. So if they start getting pressure on Martinez and Martinez falls back the way he did against Illinois, then that's going to be a little bit of a problem for Scott Frost in Nebraska.
That's what's coming at.
So do you think this season is a make or break for Scott Frost?
This is the decisive year. If we've seen by USC coachman getting fired after week 2, if you can't complete the main objective of the college and university, you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your job. I don't think nobody has ever coached at Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin. If you don't fulfill the objective of winning that homecoming game against the rival, your job is under scrutiny. in Scott Frost the way what happened, what transpired, leaving UCF to go back where he played ball at in college. It has not been the welcoming party that we thought. It's because the message, the communication is lost. It's been lost. I don't know if to blame COVID, lack of Zoom knowledge, or the lack of football knowledge when it comes to Scott Frost and Nebraska. But I still got Nebraska winning this game, and they're going to prove to him today, Coach, we're on your side. Whatever you have to say or do, we're going to stay here with you, and we're going to wear the black shirts next week.
Yeah, I got one interesting take on this, and we'll finish up, and then we'll get your pick and who your final score in this game and stuff like that. Penalties. Is it the coaching or is it the discipline of the players? Well, because they're leading it right now, they're getting penalized as one of the most teams in college football right now.
It's hard to, if you're an offensive-minded coach, but you have an offensive coordinator. You have an offensive line coach. You got all these intangibles to help you, to help them. But you can't translate your message to everyone because everybody has their own agenda. He needs to get all his coaches together to understand what we need to tell the kids. Again, miscommunication.
So you say you got Nebraska winning this game. What will be the final score of this ball game?
I got 24-10 Nebraska.
Wow. I went a little bit different. I got the Sooners, and I got the score 45-23.
Whoa. Somebody's laying some cash today. Who's your bookie?
because the simple reason is I don't trust Martinez, and they're getting penalized, and they will turn the ball over at least 3 or 4 times, and Oklahoma will catch those turnovers for touchdowns. That's just the spread I got right there. So,
I can respect that score, though, because, Oklahoma can shoot the score.
I don't think if it turns it into a scoring game, Nebraska doesn't have that offense to keep up.
That's why the defense and special teams have to be the main focal point, as well as time of possession. I'm a big fan of TOP. When you use that time of possession wisely, you can win games. Understand your national TV. Use the TV timeouts to your advantage. Understand all of that. All of it.
And Nebraska's offense must possess the game, but if you're leaving that in Aaron Martinez's hand, I don't have that capability to trust it. Yeah, you're big time. The receivers are not helping, and the running backs are not helping, or the offensive line's not helping, and he gets hit. He's going to turn that ball over, and it's going to be either a fumble six or interception pick six, or it's going to give the offense a short field. So
the offensive linemen should go in the huddle and say at one time, we're giving you 4 seconds to do something.
Yeah. So
you're going to run, throw, or do something crazy. We're giving you 4 seconds.
So we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to our next game, which will be number 15, Virginia Tech versus West Virginia. The two teams are up in the mountains, one in Virginia and the other one in West Virginia here. So, and this is this game is played in, I'm going to set the stage here for this game. It's played noon Eastern time at Mill Husker Stadium in Morgantown, West Virginia on the Fox Sports 1 network. Virginia Tech is coming in the game 2-0. West Virginia is coming 1-1. Dre, what do you think about the Virginia Tech team start off at 2-0 this year?
I've been to Blacksburg. I've never been to Morgantown. Big fan of Tech. Love the fans. Party atmosphere is off the chain. I became a big fan of WV through basketball when Huggy Bear got the job when he left Cincinnati, the Natty as I call it. But I fell in love with Will Greer when he left Florida. I have in this game West Virginia beating Tech. Morgantown gonna bring the music. I'm not talking Major Harris. I'm not talking Mike Fox, former NFL player for the Carolina Football Panthers. But I'm just saying the fact that it's Tech and what they do pregame ritual, halftime ritual, postgame ritual. This Morgantown crowd is going to bring it to the Thunder. And I got West Virginia winning this game.
Well, I look at it this way. Virginia Tech came off beating number 10 North Carolina 17-10. in front of a home crowd in Lane Stadium. I've been to Lane Stadium also, Sandman entrance. The stadium is rocking. I've been there. I sat in the student section when I was there. Don't ask me how I got tickets in the student section. I still can't figure that out. But I sit there with my Carolina clothes on, and it was back when they had Marcus Vick, Mike Vick's brother.
Here's what's crazy. I went to the game in Blacksburg when they played LSU, and they retired Michael Vick's number, and Marcus Vick was the quarterback. I was at that game.
I was at the Carolina and Virginia Tech game. I was actually married to my first wife, and our father-in-law got us tickets. I guess he got it through a booster or something, but he put us in the student section. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes you go to these Rocket stadiums and stuff like that, certain stadiums I would not wear the other team's jersey, and Philadelphia is one of them of an NFL. I would not wear.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're out. You're done.
I don't want no batteries be thrown at me and nothing like that. But, Lane Stadium, I can give the crowd, the atmosphere there. I mean, they were very hospitality. I walked around the thing with my Carolina outfit on. They were handing me like beers. They were handing me, food. And they were like, hey, man, we're just going to fatten you up and have it. And then, they beat us at night. But I look at it this way. They're not playing in Lane Stadium. I've been to Morgantown, West Virginia. I've been to that stadium too. That stadium does rock if they got a sellout crowd. But, West Virginia did come off that loss against Maryland.
Yeah, that hurt right there. That hurt. It really did.
But the thing is, what I'm scared of is Virginia Tech defense. They slowed down North Carolina. They're going to have to play that same style defense against West Virginia because West Virginia likes to get that high-octane offense rolling. If they get that high-octane rolling on them, then it's going to be so. But Virginia Tech's defense has got the two good corners that are like NFL style, and you had to make them NFL style throws. Can West Virginia do that against Virginia Tech's defense?
I like what you said about Vitek's defense. If you play into the scheme they're giving you, they're going to disguise it and hurt you. There's going to be negative yards, as what happened in the Carolina game. That's exactly what happened. That was a great call by you. But sometimes you go into knowing a situation and things don't go the way you think it's going to go, and sooner or later it's going to be down 14-0. Do you believe in that Vitek offense to sustain a 14-0 deficit early in the second quarter?
Now, the question of that is, you got a good point there, but I'm going to tell you something right here. They did lose that tight end, James Mitchell, for the season. But Braxton Burmeister, he will have to hold this thing against the running game. Blackshear is going to have a big game as a running back to help him out because that big loss of James Mitchell, that tight end, really kind of hurt Carolina down that seam. So that's going to be the question, though. We talked about Virginia Tech's defense and how they slowed North Carolina down with their offense, slowing them down, keeping their offense off the field. They're going to have to still do the same way. But the only thing is they got that missed key opponent in James Mitchell, the tight end, who on third down can keep a drive going down that middle of the field. So do we need to see the other tight ends step up to play just like James Mitchell? To give them.
This is the day he called his girlfriend or his boyfriend, his mama, his daddy, his favorite uncle and cousin, and said, I'm going to be on TV. This is the game. The next man up, the understudy has to be just as good as you. Let that sink in for a minute. You don't want nobody fulfilling your position at work that's going to do a worse job than you. You don't want them to do the job like you do it, but do the job. Do the job. And that's what the understudy needs to understand.
All right. I'm looking at, we're getting ready to go pick your game. You got West Virginia winning this game. What would be the final score of this game for you?
I got West Virginia winning this one 37-21.
Well, I went with the 21, but I went with Virginia Tech 28-21.
Ooh.
So
I like that. You land some cash today?
No, I ain't betting no money on these.
That's my problem, man. I gamble on these damn college football games.
Well, if you're looking at the point spread and everything else in these games, this game is a 4.5 point spread, and we got them, and we got both of them winning over over the 4-point spread. So if you want to take our advice and bet what we're saying, good luck.
Don't do it. I do the over-under. I do not do the point spread in college football because them kids got problems too. I know the licensing has come into place to help these kids out financially, but they still got issues. They got to fulfill somebody's obligation to help them get at that college or institution football program. So they owe somebody. That's why I do the over-under.
Well, I see you got your Gator outfit on, so we're not going to be talking about them right now, but we're going to go to the game number 3 breakdown will be Michigan State versus number 24 Miami. Mm-hmm. The other Florida team, deep south in Coors Cable, Florida, but they play their home games at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. This game is at noon at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami on ABC Sports. What is your take on this game today for Miami?
I think Ed Reed and any Miami alumni need to stop lying to these kids. Stop showing them the videos, the clips of what the you used to be. You guys need to be the new you. Start your own identity. That's why we start there first. They're putting too much promise on this Miami team based on the past. These kids weren't born then. They have no idea what you're talking about. Not a clue. It's like talking about Freaknik to kids today. They have no idea what you're talking about. Showing them the videos and the clips and utilizing the moments and understanding the hidden intangibles there does not make a difference. Be real with these kids, and Miami could possibly compete in this game. As bad as I want the U to get that name back out there, get some of these guys behind the scenes that need to be real coaches. This could really help them if they compete like losing 13-10. But that's the problem with me with Miami. That is my biggest issue with Miami. Stop telling me about the days of yesteryear. Tell me about tomorrow.
Yeah, I look at it this way here. Miami's defense, their front seven needs to start dominating. If they don't start dominating, they ain't going to have no shot against the Spartans because the Spartans has been rolling with their young offensive line this season. Michigan's offense has been rolling over 300 yards per game. 300 yards per game. Can Miami put them under 300 yards in this ballgame?
You like Michigan State?
Say that again?
Do you like Michigan State?
Well, to me, I really do because the way Miami's been playing, the way they played against Appalachian State last week, barely won that game. I understand the Alabama game. You know, Alabama's that dominant team. They make any team look, suspect. Even Miami at number 14 when they played them looked suspect. That's just the way Nick Saban's Alabama team is.
He's always prepared for the rainstorm. Always.
So, to me, I think Manny Diaz needs to get something going here. He's a defensive-minded coach, but his defense is not playing like he's his forte of a defensive coordinator when he was with Texas and all that stuff. So, what does Miami need to do? You got to run
the ball. Hold on to the ball. Keep it football. You're not the Canes back to yesterday. That right there is a key to victory right there for Miami to me. Hold on to the ball. No trick plays. Stop doing that trick play shit. Stop it. Work.
We know the just behind King coming back and stuff like that was trying to win, but now his team, his play and the team's play look suspect right now. Do you blame the offense on the offensive coordinator, or do you blame it on the execution, or is the other teams just tying up their offense?
That's a great question. It gets kind of deep with me because when you go out and scout a guy, the athlete, you're looking at that guy to add something to your program. And then when you get that guy to add that to the program, something's wrong. It's not working out. I don't know who it's based on. Use my attributes. It's like playing NBA 2K. If I'm not a post-up player, stop putting me in a post position. Use what I can do well. Put me in a pro set. Put me in an IPO situation. Let me call the play at the line. if I need to. Maybe I can read a defense better than you guys on the sideline or on the booth, but use what I'm good at.
Yeah, I'll take that, point too. And your point by Ed Reed showing all these tapes and stuff like that of the yesteryears. And, I was in the 80s when Miami was that dominant U defense with Jimmy Johnson.
I don't want to see that to help me understand where I'm at. I don't know nothing about those guys.
Right.
I can't be that dude. I cannot be a part of what happened back then. I'm not wearing no jersey with no T-shirt on up under there. I'm not showing my abs. I'm not getting off no damn plane in no fertility camouflage uniform. None of that's going to happen. But I understand the message. Now let's execute the plan.
Right. And then we know if the front seven doesn't dominate the Spartans, Peyton Thorne will be. He had wonderful last week with some big plays down the field. And if you give him time, he's going to put more pressure on that Miami secondary. Can the Miami secondary hold up if they don't generate any pass rush?
You made a great point. If that front seven can't do its job, now it's on you guys. That's when everybody looking over their shoulder like, what you doing? They got to stay home, do their job, hands off. Don't get over excited like an Alabama game. Just be in your spot and do what you got to do. That's what I can tell the secondary if the front seven doesn't do their job.
So now, who do you have winning this game today, and by what score?
I got Miami winning this one, 21-10.
Well, I went the other way. I got Michigan State pulling the upset with a score 34-31.
Would it be an upset if Michigan State beats Miami, or an upset if Miami beats Michigan State?
No, it'd be an upset if Michigan State beat the number 24
You
ranked
think?
team in Michigan. Yeah.
This Miami team would be an upset, or based on the days of yesteryear?
If you base on where they're ranked right now, yes, Michigan State.
Yeah, I get that. I get the gist of that. But
if you talk about the play of the thing, I think Michigan State is a better team. If you look at
you're picking Michigan State, right?
Yeah. 34-31. 34-31. Last second field goal.
Again, don't place bets on what we're saying, guys. Just for entertainment purposes only. But if you do lay some cash and win, y'all need to cash out us some money because we gave you tips.
Yeah, we take 10%. 10% off the top.
30% over here all day.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too great because if you put how many people watch us and how many games we got right now, you talk about 10%, you still get rich off of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go ahead and take another commercial break. And once we get back, and then we'll get back rolling into the breakdown. You listen to the ASAP College Breakdown Show. We'll be right back with the Fox Network. And we're going to take a break for their commercial break. Hold on 1 second. We'll be right back.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the ASAP College Breakdown, the premier college pregame show on social media and the TV. I'm here with myself, Ray Cruz, and the Florida Gator himself, Dre Montez. So we're going to break down our next game. This will be our number 4th game breakdown. Will be Northern Illinois versus number 25 Michigan game. Now this game will set the stage here. This game is played at noon at the Big House at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan on ESPN Plus Network. Dre, what is your take on this game? And is this a key season for Jim Harbaugh?
Captain Khaki Pants, yes, sir, it is. We know what he did in the NFL. We know what he did in college. But as a coach, it needs to come together now. It's a high-profile position, very high-profile position. We know what Northern Illinois has done for the NFL, its production, its path in college football. This is a big game. I think Michigan needs a shutout.
Yeah. Well,
They need a shutout.
This game right here, if you look at a rough few years for Thomas Hancock era at for Northern Illinois, got by Georgia Tech on the road to start the season and kept the game close against Wyoming, only losing by the score of 50-43 last week. The Huskies' offense is hitting on third down tries, and offensive line is playing better than it has in a few years. Their rushing attack is very good right now. The Huskies will use quarterback Rocky Lambert, who is familiar with the Big Ten. Played at Michigan State, transferred out, went to Northern Illinois, so he knows what the Big Ten defense, he knows what this Michigan team is all about. But he has thrown a lot of interceptions against the University of Michigan in his career. What do you think that Rocky Lambert's got to do to win this game today for Northern Illinois?
He has to do something that's unexpected, that nobody expects that offense to do. Talking to that quarterback, saying, hey, what play did you call in high school? Going to that running back and saying, what's your favorite play? Going to that tight end. What was that game your dad was at that meant a lot to you? What play did you make? I'm going to every positional player that has an opinion on the offensive output and putting points on the board, finding out something I probably didn't know as a coach. Maybe my assistants know, but this morning I'm going to find out. Maybe I can implement that into the game plan. Is it looking like it's a shutout? Because I got Michigan. Michigan needs to win this game in shutout format. But if I'm the coach of Northern Illinois, I'm going to each and every player to find something different in what you can bring to the table.
Yeah, I have a little bit, different philosophy and stuff like that. But, the way I look at it, if I would have got into coaching, I have a playbook that consists of a little bit of a triple option all the way up to the run and shoot, all the way to a West Coast offense style. I have multiple offense. And what Northern Illinois could do is use that offense and go around, like you said, go to each player, find out what their best play, what's their best running play in high school. What kind of line scheme were they using for the running backs? Wide receiver, what kind of routes do you use mostly? What routes are you good at? I think that's what's missing in coaching today, and I think that's what's missing right now. But now on the other end, has Michigan found that quarterback in Cade McCarroll?
I gotta wait. I need 4 to 5 games to figure out what Michigan's trying to do, their statement, their objective, and what the outcome can be. I got to look at the algorithms on Michigan because I still don't know what Khaki Pants is trying to do with that program yet. I have no idea. We know Michigan to be this type of school, but then someone comes in and changes the lecture, the momentum, the line, and the days of Bo Schembechler. And what's my dude name that came out? Mike
Carr.
Yeah, it goes from the program has changed. We defensive minded, we offensive minded. We're promoting running backs, we're promoting quarterbacks, receivers, defensive guys. I mean, bring in Charles Woodson. Let him. I want to hear his opinion on what the big house is looking like in the Michigan men. I don't know the statement right now with Harbaugh. I don't know what he's pushing. You want all us to wear khakis? Okay, let us know that.
Well, I look at it this way, and when I've looked at their first game and the last game was short field passes. He's good at McCarroll, but the running attack has been solid. So he went back to the days that you had a little bit of a running game, like they've been OSHA. Back when Bo Schembechler was there with the running attack. We went back to that style a little bit. Put a little bit of cars in from, offense with the little short passes, leading to the big passes, leading to the little bit shorter runs, leading to some of the outside routes with the wide receivers. Their defense is now he's got a solid front seven in Michigan. Is this the year that Michigan could compete for the Big Ten and beat Ohio State?
Man, that's a hell of a question right there. So early in the morning, it's college football Saturday, but I don't know. I would probably know more about Michigan today than Michigan does about themselves. The Ohio State equation is still out the building to me based on what happened last week in an Oregon game, because I saw something that kind of put me off on the map in making this Michigan-Ohio State game a big game, because Ohio State was exposed last weekend. I don't know if Michigan saw that, and then I don't know how Michigan's going to take this game today. So I'm kind of up in the air still, because it's so early with Michigan, man. It's so early for me to make a decision. Do I believe in the program, defensive, offensively, the coaching mindset? That's too much right now. I got to wait till after this game. Then I have a more, I guess, respect or lack of, or a creed for Michigan men.
Yeah. So we get to the point where who's winning this game and by how much?
I got Michigan winning this in a shutout. They need a 53-0 game.
Well, I went a little bit different. I went with Michigan winning, but I went with the score of 45-28.
45 what?
28.
That's a lot of points.
Well, last 3
That's
years.
a lot of points that the losing team is scoring.
Well,
Harbaugh, he's going to be pissed.
Well, the last 2 years that Rocky Lambert played them, they scored 28 points. That's why I put the 28 points. So can he do it with this Illinois team? He did it with Michigan State. Can he do it with this Illinois team, Northern Illinois? So we have to see how this game turns out. Like I said, don't go bet on this as we tell you to score.
It's for entertainment purposes only. But if you win, cash app us that 10%. Cash app, hit us up.
So our next game we're gonna view here is the Purdue and Notre Dame game. This game will be played at 2:30 Eastern Time at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana on NBC. This is the Notre Dame Network, NBC, to get all the money for this thing. What kind of, that's why they hadn't joined a conference in college stuff last year, because of the pandemic, nobody wanted to play them. And so that's why they jumped to the ACC for that 1 year only, even though the other sports do play for the ACC. So what's your take on this game here for Notre Dame, the way Notre Dame played last week, and and Purdue coming out?
Man, this is one of those games back in the day. I know Mike Allstott is not there. We know Rocket Ismail is not there. But those are the Golden Domers of Notre Dame. And I have a good friend, Jay, who's a huge Notre Dame fan. And I'm very skeptical when it comes to Notre Dame because the TV contract they got in the late 80s, early 90s, that situation kind of pissed me off. But now looking at the game of football and what I witnessed last week with Notre Dame, maybe this could be one of those games to let them know, even though it's against Purdue, who's in the years has always competed with Notre Dame into the early third quarter, and then something goes wrong. But this is that game that could be a statement for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I can look at that too. The Irish might have been underwhelming so far, but Jack Cohen has been better than anyone could possibly expect. He's hit 69% of his throws for over 600 yards with 6 touchdowns and 2 picks. He has proven he can carry the team through adversity. The biggest issue has been a running defense that might have to come up with a slew of tackles for loss, but allows over 5 yards per carry. It's not that Purdue can't take advantage of the wobbly running game defense. Is that the O just doesn't roll that way. So can Purdue get their offensive line and start palming this Notre Dame defense and make the running game, work for them this game?
That Notre Dame defense, I didn't know it was that good. As you made a great point, starting your spot off on this. I had no idea they were that good, that fast, that quick to the adjustments in the middle of a play. So that goes for great preparation, great practice, and good football IQ. Notre Dame defense is way better than what I thought it would be in this whole upcoming 2021 football season.
Yeah, I look at it this way. Purdue style offenses, they got to get the running game going. They got to go get the play action pass, and that could get Notre Dame some trouble if they get the running game going. But they haven't gotten the running game going except for one game.
But see, if the running game is not working at all, and I just spoke highly on the Notre Dame IQ on defense, they're going to be prepared to drop those linebackers back and slide the line on their play action. They're going to be prepared for that because when one thing is not working, they're going to go here. It's like playing video games. If you're playing Madden, if you're playing 2K, if this is not working, we're going to go here. But the opposing team that's trying to beat you is already a step ahead saying, okay, they're going to go here. And that's what Notre Dame is going to be ready for. If the run is not working, they're going to go play action.
Yeah, we look at Notre Dame here. This is the question here for Notre Dame, how they win. They closed the deal at Florida State, but they couldn't do it in Toledo. You know, quarterback Jack Plummer had been outstanding. Offense has been working, but the Irish might not have finally fought through their issues with the first two games. At least that's their hope. Purdue will be up. Cohen will bring the Irish back. It will be third straight, very dramatic and very rocky win. Notre Dame's defense front will generate pressure when it has to. So, to me, they have to play a good game on both sides of the ball. They haven't played that so far. Florida State, they did close it out, but they had to come back at the last second to close that one out. And Toledo, they just didn't close it out, period. So they got to play two sides of the ball. I mean, they play on one side, they got to play on both sides. How does Notre Dame put a complete game together today?
That's like an unwritten rule in football. There's no such thing as a perfect game because things are going to happen that we do not expect. That's where practice comes in. That's where early spring practice comes in. That's where that coaching meeting comes into play. This is what's in film review comes into play. I think if Notre Dame goes out here and plays the Golden Domers type of defense, be ready for the play action. Protect the run. You guys in the backfield, do your job. That's why I think the game can be controlled by Notre Dame.
Is this a must-win season for Kelly?
It's like 10 coaches in a must-win season. This one for sure. Kelly needs one of those top bowl games. If it's not the national championship, he needs to be in one of those major games to solidify his hiring, his tenure, his legacy, and his story.
Yeah, look at this. So who do you have winning and what's your score on this one?
I got the Golden Domers winning this one at 35-3.
Wow.
Big emphasis on the defense.
Big emphasis on the defense.
I think the defense and special teams are going to do something very, very spectacular. And they're playing in South Bend.
So if you look at it this way, so you're talking about they're only going to allow them 3 points on a field goal. So that means you got a lot of pick six and a lot of turnovers in this ball game.
I'm telling you, they're playing in South Bend. Yeah. That's what I'm feeling.
Now, while we're talking, I have Notre Dame winning 30-20. I have Notre Dame winning 30-10. I'll give them 10.
So you got 7 more points than I picked.
Yeah.
And you're highly critical of my pick on a.
But I'm giving a touchdown though. You're just giving a field goal.
I'm telling you, man. I don't want to name drop here, but I used to work with former NFL player Rod Smith from Notre Dame, former Carolina Panther. And he told me things about Notre Dame that is coming to mind when the opposing team comes to town and things they have to prove to the coach we're ready. We're ready for this season. Here's what we got to do. This is the game to do it. And I think this is one of the games. Early in the college football season, I don't think the Golden Domers, Notre Dame, are the only team that's trying to do that. But I'm saying this is the weekend for like 10 to 15 schools. This is the weekend to believe in the coach, the system, the path, the program, the elevator process, whatever you want to do. This is the weekend.
Yeah, and let me ask you one question while we're talking about Notre Dame. I read an article saying that people think the mascot of Notre Dame is kind of wrong. They want to change the mascot. How do you feel about people picking on the mascot of a team?
Look here, man. It's 2021. We pick on everything. We still talking about Becky, Kelly. Come on. When you have nowhere to go, you go to things that nobody has ever thought about. Never thought about. I'm not picking on no mascot. That mascot been around I'm 50. Way before me. Way before me. But I do love the Irish people.
Oh, yeah.
So that's way out of my realm to be talking about that. And there are other mascots that come up under heavy scrutiny. Heavy. Like the Florida football Gators. That's a crazy story on the Gator Chomp. Crazy story. Crazy. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's a myth. I don't know because I wasn't born back then. But if it offends you, speak out. Speak up.
I mean, it's like we just gone too far picking on people's mascots, man. These mascots have been around for a while.
Long
Tradition. If you ain't find offensive back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, why are you finding it now?
The shit you should have been mad about back then.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it.
Lawn darts? Who allowed that? Lawn darts in the 70s? That was ages 5 and up. That was those steel tip darts. But nobody said a thing. But we're going to bitch about a mascot. Come on, man.
Well, our next game we're going to break down is number 9, Ohio State versus Tulsa.
Ohio State and who?
Tulsa.
Coastal Carolina?
No, Tulsa. Tulsa. Tulsa.
Okay.
The Golden Rockets. Whatever you want to call it. This game is taking place at 3:30 at Ohio State Stadium in Buckeye Country in Columbus, Ohio on the FS1 network. What is your thought on the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes?
I think the whole team is still mad about what happened last week, and they're going to go out here and put up 84 points.
84.
They're gonna do things. People are gonna get mad about the Ohio State. I gotta get it right. I don't want to expect dot the I people, the Ohio State, Columbus, Ohio fan crowd out here. But I think they're gonna put up 84 points today and piss off College America. They're gonna do it. Woo. When the expectations are not met, there are consequences to pay. That's a great T-shirt right there. When the expectations are not met, consequences is going to make you pay.
You better trademark that before somebody steals it.
That is.
But if you look at it this way, this is why I look at it. Ohio State did play Oregon. They did play a Power 5 team out of the Pac-12. Oregon's not a slouch team. CJ Stroud did throw for 484 yards against the Ducks, and there ain't any answers in the Golden Hurricanes for all of the Ohio State weapons. I understand your concept of them being mad and stuff like that. Defense is probably going to shut them out. I do look at a shutout, but I do look at 40 to nothing here at this game as my pick of this game. So
they need a shutout, big time, because that one loss that early in the season, it can be deemed as catastrophic now due to the way the college football player system is going and all that, these people that vote and the ratings and all that. I get it. But today, they got to put up 60 to 80 points. And it's going to piss people off. People are going to be so mad tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
When Ohio State get to this team. I'm sorry, the Ohio State. Dot the I.
Dot the I. They're going to dot the I all over this team. If you look at it this way here, and I look at some of the publication, and this is how they say that this team, Tulsa, how they're going to win. You say good on paper and stuff like that, but Tulsa Hurricanes had a rough start with puzzling loss to UC Davis. Who in the world is UC Davis?
That University of California Davis?
Yeah.
That's one of those teams that puts out great linebackers in the NFL, great safeties, a great tight end. That's one of those schools. They have people that didn't want to leave home, can't leave home, want to stay close to the family, but are great football players that a Power 5 wanted. You're going to get like 1 to 5 of those players on each of those schools that people have a tough time with saying, what the hell went wrong here? Then you look at that roster and you find out about these kids, you're like, holy shit. Look who they have on that team. You just never know. A lot of kids don't want to leave home.
Right.
They want to go to the school in the backyard.
Right. So you got UC Davis. Then they follow up beating a Power 5 team in Oklahoma State. You know, they could have been 2-0, but they're 1-1. That's kind of puzzling too. If you lose to UC Davis and then end up turning up and beating Oklahoma State, what do you think about that? And
that's when the coach went in the locker room and cussed everybody out. That's one of those games.
You know,
don't bleep this up for me.
But granted, they do have a slim error in margins. They got to keep. They can't turn the ball over against Ohio State. If they turn the ball over, Ohio State can turn it as a pick six, or can turn short fields into touchdowns. And that's the key there. That's to your saying of your score. There will be a lot of turnovers, a lot of, I don't think Tulsa might not make it close to 50-yard line to the Ohio State side of the ball. So that's why I went 40-0. I think Ohio State will get up early, big. I think the game will be over probably after the first quarter. Halftime, they put in the third and fourth strings. I don't see them getting to 84 points, but I do see them getting to 40 and then coasting the rest of it.
But we both have Ohio State winning, right? I'm sorry, the Ohio State, not the I.
Yeah, I just call Ohio State because I just like getting the Buckeyes fans mad. I mean, I don't see the Ohio State on their billboards and stuff like that. It's just the players put the emphasis the Ohio State. I don't understand that, but they're just putting the emphasis on their college when they introduce themselves. And then you see other colleges says they use the in front of theirs just to mock them. It's just a complete. And I understand dotting the I and all that because you have an I in Ohio, but you don't have the Ohio State written down anywhere. I mean, you don't see it on the marquee. You don't see it on the thing. So I mean, to me, I don't understand their concept of.
It's that college ritual. You're a Carolina fan. You guys do things that nobody in the world would understand, and you know what I'm talking about.
Of course,
you don't prepare for a Carolina basketball game the way normal people do.
You can't.
That's a ritual. That's a foundation. That's something that must be in your blood if you're in the Carolina, the 704 district.
If we had a dome stadium, if we're a football team, and all them banners be hanging up with all them jerseys of Lawrence Taylor, Julius Pepper, all
got the same smell. Got the same smell. Oh, that place stinks. It reeks of just.
I mean, if we had all them banners like we did in the Dean Dome and stuff like that, and fans come in, other teams look up and things, see all them like Michael Jordan jerseys. We see those. If we had a dome stadium for football, you see all them jerseys hanging up and stuff like that. We could probably get a little bit of intimidation. Lawrence Taylor was there at the game last week at Carolina and stuff like that. We're gonna get more to that.
LT in the building.
Yeah. So we all predict. You predict 84-0. I predict 40.
What you got? 53.
I got 40.
40-0.
Yeah, I said
we both agree this needs to be a shutout game.
Yeah, it has to be. But other people predicted. This is one guy predicted 40-17.
No way possible. No way possible. Vegas not taking your money. Unless you got some dirt on the coach or the kid on the team, that's the only way that's going to happen.
Well, this is the betting line for this. Ohio State, a 25-point favorite.
Again, I don't do the points in college football.
Now the over
purposes only. I do the over/under in college football.
I'm gonna give
that's
you
the only way I bet.
I'm gonna give you the over and under. 61.
What is it?
61. 61.
I'm taking that all day. I'm going with the over. Damn right.
Now, if you get my score, you ain't gonna make the over. I'm only giving them 40 because I think
What was your rate in the Navy? I was a boatswain.
I was a YN.
You were what?
A YN.
Okay. Oh, yeoman.
Yeah, I have a condition. I can't go out and be in the hot because if I get
It's
sick.
all good. It's all
I
good.
get sick. So I told him I want an AC job when I went to my classification.
Like I'm legally blind. I have something called Leber's hereditary optical neuropathy. I became legally blind 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so can't drive. I got a cane. All that. It's been a crazy but learning curve.
Yeah. I can't hold a job because I was a contractor. They the Navy decided to cut down on all the contractors, so they let over 450 of us go, and I was one of the 450. So now I'm stuck Ubering. So I'm chauffeuring people around.
I wish I could Uber. I would have the greatest Uber. I would karaoke, podcast. I'd deck that motherfucker out in the background. Oh, it'd be a show.
I can't say what some of the stuff that goes on because it's not appropriate.
I used to drive limos part time. I can only imagine.
So, all right, let's get back to moving on here.
All right, what's our next game?
Our next game will be not your team in Florida, but the other team in Florida, Florida State versus Wake Forest. Is this the game that Florida State actually wins?
That Jacksonville State game hurt Florida State in ways no one would understand but the Florida State fan base. That game was detrimental to the team. That was egregious behavior. That was wrong. So many people did so many things wrong on that play. It's like when Nick Saban against Auburn, War Eagle, when he put out the biggest people statistically known on a punt coverage team.
Yeah,
I think Florida State is caving it in. They're not doing this to get recruits. You can't tank in college to get the best player. That doesn't work. But I think last week, that was a total shit show.
Yeah,
I got Wake Forest winning this one.
I got this game. Let's break it down. This game is at 3:30. Is at Truist Field in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, on the ESPN network. This is going to be a ESPN network. This is going to be on cable network. This game right here. Have you ever seen this Florida State 0-2 versus a Wake Forest 2-0?
Only in college basketball. Only in college basketball. Maybe college baseball. Maybe soccer. Maybe intramural softball or flag football, but never on the gridiron on this college football Saturday have I ever seen this. No. I got Wake Forest all day beating the hell out of Florida State. And I have a good friend, Hot Tub Dave, big Florida State fan, big time Florida State fan. But there's something going on. Are they pissed Deion didn't get the job? What's going on at Florida State?
This is my point, and since you brought that up, I'm gonna bring it to you right here. I think they're taking the season. I think they're taking it because they want Deion Sanders there. Not Deion.
Jackson State.
Yeah, they want Deion Sanders there. I think because he is alumni. I think he can bring recruits in there. I think his strategy is recruiting. It's very unique, but the thing is, he's having too much fun where he's at coaching right now. And
not behind the scenes, they broke in my truck. They stole my favorite boombox, even though it was returned. When you coach an HBC, you know what? When you coach college football, we just think it's about Saturday and doing the practice. Man, these guys are counselors, they're fathers, they're pimps, they're drug dealers, they're mules. They got to take all this in from all these kids coming from different backgrounds. And I think Florida State is testing Deion for the next level. We're going to let you sit here for 2 years. And I think next year he's going to get the job at Florida State. But I think still Wake Forest is going to beat the living shit out of Florida State today.
Well, look at it this way. Last week's loss was bizarre. Notre Dame, Jack Cohen went off. Jacksonville State, Jack Cooper went off. And then you got Hartman. for Wake Forest. Another good quarterback who can run and pass the ball. So you got a little bit of double trouble back there in Wake Forest, Demon Deacon side.
How tall is that quarterback at Wake Forest, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
I think he's 6 foot.
He's 6 foot even?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me tell you a story real quick here. We'll get a little bit off the subject here. I was in Afghanistan, and our USO tour came over. I met the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell is 6'1". I can tell you that because I'm 5'10".
I'm 6'2".
Well, I was sitting down. I won this sports trivia question contest, so I got to eat with Roger Goodell, and I got to eat with Drew Brees. Drew Brees is
little bitty man.
Drew Brees is not 6 foot. Drew Brees is 5'9" because I'm an inch taller than Drew Brees. I can tell you that for a fact because I stood up next to him and I wanted to see. So I'm an inch taller than Drew Brees. Drew Brees is only 5'9".
You still can't be an NFL quarterback.
No. So no, I'm only 5'10". I'm not but anyway, I can't throw as strong as he could. So I was sitting there I'm a big Carolina fan, so I'm sitting there talking to him. I asked him who's the worst player that he wanted to face that got hit the hardest. He said he never wanted to get hit by Julius Peppers again.
By who?
Julius Peppers.
Nobody wants that business.
I looked down and said,
that is the coolest dude ever.
Yeah.
Julius Peppers is so damn cool. When I did radio in Carolina, Julius Peppers in college at Carolina, of course. Then he played football for the Carolina Panthers. And the radio station that I was working for, we had a relationship with the Carolina Panthers. So I got to meet him several occasions. That is one of the coolest dudes of all time, man. That dude is so cool and laid back, real, honest, and give you everything up front, the way it should be.
Yeah, I look at it this way, when we talk about Carolina more, I'll bring up a little bit more story about Julius Peppers. I got a couple of stories I can tell about him.
I bet you do.
And then, when we get to Georgia, I got one about Gurley too, because one of my best friends.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
This was actually from one of my friends out in that actually went to school with in high school. She's a teacher. She actually teaches them English class.
I told you. I know what you're talking about.
She told me a couple of stories about him. So
the literacy thing, yeah.
I'll get a little bit pinpoint on that.
I learned a whole lot of things about Carolina basketball, Wake Forest, Duke, Eastern Carolina, Winston-Salem State. Yeah. I learned South Carolina a whole lot living down in the Cackalack. I was down there 5 years. I learned a whole lot. Yeah, the hidden intangibles that would set the sports world on fire. But these are true stories.
Yeah.
But I'm not that type of person to tell stuff like that. I keep it to myself.
Well, I look at it this way too. If you look at Wake Forest, everybody asks me, why does Wake Forest is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina? Because the county of Wake Forest didn't want to build them a new whole university because they were in a high school campus type deal. And when Muggsy Bogues played, they played in a high school gym, basically like the Cameron Indoor Stadium, but it didn't hold as many as Cameron. It only hold like 8,000. And when basketball season, I'll tell you a little story about that. We're gonna do a college pregame show for basketball too. The show is gonna be college.
I'm a Kentucky fan, so you know that.
I'm a diehard Carolina fan.
I already know that.
But anyway, so Wake Forest moved to Winston-Salem. They got a nice university up there. They got a nice stadium. They rebuilt a new stadium up there at Trist Field. It used to be BB&T Bank Field, but they changed the name. To me, I think I agree with you. I think Florida State will go 0-3 today. I think Wake Forest has got too much of a lead. And to me, if Florida State wins this game, then we know they're playing for the coach. If they lose this game, they're not playing for the coach. They're trying to tank it and make him look bad and possibly run him out of town just like they did Willie Taggart.
This is going to be worse than the Willie Taggart saga.
Yeah.
The way they played for that dude was horrible.
I mean, Will Tagg was a Tallahassee native.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which makes it even worse.
yeah. So I predict the score. What do you have a score in this game?
I have the score being 27-16. Wake Forest.
Yeah, Nate says he's a BYU in all college sports except baseball.
What's that?
We got he's Nate. He said he's a BYU fan for all college sports except for baseball. But I got something for that, Nate, here later on in a minute. Here, I predict the score. I picked the Wake Forest score. I picked it 35. I'll give Florida State at least 14.
At least 14. All right. 14. I gave him 16. You gave him 14, but we both have Wake Forest winning the game.
Yeah. Now
we've been on board on every game. What, except 2?
Yeah. And then Wake Forest is a 5-point favorite, and their over and under is 62.5.
Woo! I'm going the under. I'm going the under. There's no way I'm touching that 62. Come on. Some things you stay away from. Women named Tiffany with a tattoo on their foot. Stay away from them.
Well, I got to stay away from my wife because my wife is a Florida State fan.
This is your second marriage? Second marriage?
Yeah, my second marriage, yeah.
I've done it 4 times, man.
Yeah, she's my.
I won't do it again.
This is my last one.
I'm not buying no more rings and no more furniture. No, I'm done.
No,
tapped out. I'm like a UFC fighter. I'm done.
Well, our next game will be the Cincinnati versus the Indiana. This game is taking place at 12 o'clock Eastern Time at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana on ESPN. So what is your
Bearcats versus the Hoosiers?
Yes.
This is one of those games, man. I love the Natty, my Huggy Bear, Bob Huggins story back in the day. I love them from a particular sport, and I became fond of the football team a few years ago. And now I think Cincinnati is trying to move to a different conference.
They're going to the Big 12.
There it is. So that lets you know that football program has some athletes in the chamber ready to unload. And I think the next 2 to 4 years, we're about to see something out of the Natty, the Bearcats. Shout out to my cousin that went to Indiana, Ray Moore. I got Cincinnati winning this game. This is the game to show you we deserve to be here, even though it's against Indiana, a basketball and soccer school. But you understand that this football team real.
Yeah, and how Indiana finished up last season. They were good and everything and stuff like that. But it was that fool's goals from last year Indiana team to this year's Indiana team. They got the same quarterback, pretty much same personnel, and same head coach.
Sometimes that can be helpful because the first regular season of the game, are we getting better from what we did last year? Are we still in the middle? We're still in neutral and we're not in drive yet. So I think the first 2 quarters are going to really dictate how Indiana is going to take this game.
Yeah, if you look at it, Indiana's passing game has been awful. The ground game has been decent. Scoring wasn't a problem last week in a 56-14 win over Idaho. But then again, they played Idaho. But this hasn't been anything like the team of last year. However, Cincinnati has to play a real team now. The Bearcats might have looked great. Give some credit to beating a Miami University team that pushes Minnesota a bit, but now they have to go on the road to deal with a IU team that's looking to kickstart its season. They rolled out Indiana. The Hoosiers rolled. Idaho was nice, but beat Cincinnati as the respect will return to the Hoosiers. Do you agree with that statement?
I do. That's a great point. I believe in all of that. But if you keep looking at the past, what you couldn't do or what you did do, you're not going to do that with the team you're playing today. So whatever didn't work against Idaho didn't expect to play that team the way they did and achieve the goal that they set upon themselves to happen. So now I'm not saying go away from the run game, but make adjustments to what didn't work to the previous week. Instead of thinking about how you lost. It didn't play very well. You can grow moving forward. It's called moving the progressions, I think it's called.
Yeah. Now we know the quarterback for Indiana, Michael Penix Jr. had a knee injury. He's got 2 games under his belt. Is it time for him to turn it on now? Turn it loose. He's got 2 games under his belt.
This is the week to get your name on the board for NFL, Heisman, Bronco Nabowski Award. This is the weekend to do it. Last weekend was the weekend that we gave money to colleges and institutions across America that needed that money. This is the weekend to put your name on the board. So I think big-time players have been hearing this all year, all spring. This is it. This is the game to get your name on the board.
Yeah, we look at the Bearcats will be relentless with good offense balance and big day defensively from the secondary. This might not be the game to make everyone think the Bearcats are ready to take on Alabama in college football playoff, but it will be a very big step.
Speaking of longevity, hasn't that offensive line with Cincinnati been together like the longest tenure in college football as of now?
I think so.
Or do I got something wrong there? I think that offensive line has been together like how all of the Miami football players came together. What was it, 5 years ago? They came from the same high school. It was 7 of them.
Yeah.
But I think all these guys in this offensive line have been together for a long time. So they have their relationship. They know what to do and what not to do and what to look for. And they need to use that to get the W.
So now we're looking at the score here. What is your take on the score? Who's going to win and what score?
Man, I as bad as I want this, it's bad. This is one of those danger games. You know, I believe in this team, but I know what this team's going to do. Man, Indiana's not going to win this game. But I got Indiana at least scoring 17 points, but they're going to lose. Indiana's going to lose this game, but they're going to put 17 points on the board with a great effort in the second half. The first half is going to be two different teams.
I think Cincinnati will win. I think they'll win 34.
I got the Natty for sure, man. 34-17.
I got it 34-24.
What's that?
I give Indiana 7 more points. I give them 24.
You got Indiana winning?
No, I got Cincinnati winning 34-24.
The Natty? Okay, I didn't hear you kind of drop down.
Yeah, how about you like the over and under? The Cincinnati's favored by 3.5. The over and under for this game is 50.
50?
50.
Oh, I'm taking that all day. Let me get that. Let me get that 50. I lose so much in the early games in college football, but I win it all back in the late games. I love the West Coast game because you can make crazy bets on the late games. Just entertainment purposes only. I'm just saying. You can make some crazy bets out there.
Well, we're now getting to the ACC battle in Clemson versus Georgia Tech. This game is at 3:30. It's at Memorial Stadium, Clemson, South Carolina. The network is on ABC. Both teams are coming in 1-1. We know how Clemson's offense struggled against Georgia's defense and their offense and stuff like that. It was only that key turnover that cost them the actual game in that contest. They bounced back last week and Clemson isn't, but beat South Carolina State. That's who they played. And then Georgia Tech, Northern Illinois, and they played Kennesaw State. So Clemson isn't those two for Georgia Tech. Who do you see? How do you see Clemson attacking Georgia Tech? And do you see Georgia Tech hanging in this ball game?
I learned more about Clemson in that Georgia game than life itself. We all know this for a fact, but nobody has said it out loud. You need a quarterback. Tackle, 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 tack, tack, tack. All I want is a quarterback. That's a true statement. And Clemson is really feeling that. I think Dabo then got himself in some trouble. He did not recruit a quarterback to protect his legacy and his story. Clemson is in trouble. Now it's relied on players outside of the quarterback, the running back, the receiver, the tight end, special teams, the defense. Now we're in unfamiliar territory. Now we're going back to the 90s Clemson football team that gets what? The Renner Center Bowl game. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at it here, DJ Ugo, I just call him DJ. No, Ugo,
What you call him?
Don't call him DJ. I just call him by his first name, DJ. You know, Ugalea or something like that as like a Hawaiian name or something. Because it's got all these vowels in it, one consonant, two consonant, all these vowels.
I'm gonna call you the player from the 808.
Yeah, there you go. If he was a little sharper, that's we're looking at nitpicking. The offense of Clemson is not going to be. It's going to go as the quarterback goes. That's basically what that system is set up for. It's way double played the last 3 years with Trevor Lawrence, and then DJ Watson before that. So if you look at it this way here, this is the first test for his legacy because this is the first quarterback that is not on a top tier level like what Trevor Lawrence was. Made the game flow. Because your leader of your offense has got to be your quarterback. That's your leader. And if he's not playing correctly, if he's not playing good, they're going to struggle. That's what they did against Georgia. So did Clemson find himself last week against South Carolina State, or will this be another Power 5 defensive struggle game?
I think this is going to be more on the coach of Clemson trying to prove that he can still put out a quality team even though they lost the first game. It's going to be the look at me, let me show you type game. There could be some errors. There are going to be some mistakes. There's going to be some, what they call it, eye-opening experiences during this game. But Clemson has to prove to us, the world, that they deserve to be in the conversation after losing that game to Georgia. That's still going to be lingering on everybody's mind. No matter what they do today, it has to be perfect. And there's no such thing as a perfect football game.
Right. Now, do you think the Tigers are just going to rip through the Atlantic division of the ACC?
Do I think that what?
They're going to rip through the whole Atlantic division in the ACC? No way possible. They were exposed in that Georgia game. They don't have a quarterback that can extend the play, understand what the defense is giving him at critical times when the pressure's on. That was exposed in that Georgia game. So now other teams are going to feed on that. Coaches that know how to do their job, the quote unquote, you got one job, watch game film and relay to us what you learn to prepare us for the next game. Right.
And what Clemson exposed in that Georgia game, it's bad. And I think they're going to try to go beyond the Call of Duty today and do things they're not normally known for, like doing a flea flicker in the first drive. Going for the 80-yard pass on the first drive. They're going to try to do things that nobody thought they would do on the first possession. Watch.
Right. And then you think Georgia Tech defense and their personnel there from the last year's team, from that 73-7 loss, you think they're going to come fired up?
If Calvin Johnson shows up to the game and gives him a team speech, this could be an interesting game. And where's this game being played at?
This game is played in Clemson.
It's played in Clemson.
Yeah.
So Clemson's going to win this game. Clemson's going to win this game. But if Calvin Johnson speaks to the team, even yesterday or Thursday at the team dinner, if he spoke to them at the team dinner, that team can use that as motivation. Because the Calvin Johnson story at Georgia Tech is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he played with an option team.
That dude was something special.
Yeah.
Something special. And what's my man? Bobby Ross.
Yep.
Great NFL mindset. His coaching intangibles, nobody really recognized until it was way too late. But back to the topic. Georgia Tech is not going to win this game, but I think they're going to compete real hard.
So what you got the final score to be then?
38-23.
Yeah, I don't see the 73-7 blowout like they did last year. But
What you got?
I do see them. I do see Cleveland. I do see Clemson winning, but I see them scoring at least 48. I think Georgia Tech will hang around about 20 between 21 and 24.
It's a good call. Good call. Good call.
Clemson is favored by 28. The over and under is 52.5.
What's the over under?
52.5.
I'm taking that too. And let me get that.
Well,
I usually do a parlay.
Yeah.
With the over under. I usually do 7 games on Saturdays and just see what happens. So far, so good this year. I'm in the plus, just like I do on the horses. I'm in the plus this year. First time ever. Usually, I'm in a deep negative this time of year.
Well, I want to touch bases here. We're going to skip down some of them. I want to touch bases on this hour because the last hour we're going to be dealing with your team and Alabama Crimson Tide, the game of the week. The game of the week is always going to be the last hour of the show, and I picked Alabama and Florida game of the game of the week this week. I want to go ahead and break down here to. Let's see here. I want to go down to the Georgia versus South Carolina game. SEC.
I thought we did that.
No,
we did.
No, we did Clemson. We talked about Georgia and the Clemson thing, but we're going to take it to the other tail. Now we're going to go to Georgia here.
Georgia, South Carolina.
Yeah. Both teams come in 2-0. What happened the last time Georgia came in 2-0, came in undefeated into South Carolina? Against South Carolina, what happened? South Carolina won that game. So this game will be played at 7 o'clock Eastern Time at Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, on ESPN. This will be a 7 o'clock kickoff game on ESPN. We know JT Daniels missed the UAB game, and Stetson Bennett stepped in and threw for 5 touchdown passes for 56 in a 56-7 win. He now has a strained back. Carson Beck steps in late and only hit 4 of his 10 passes with a touchdown and a pick. So what do you think about the South Carolina and Georgia game? Is this going to be the quarterback that was what he was a TV announcer or radio broadcaster or something?
With a name like that, you got to do something productive as long as the family's proud. I have great respect for both schools here. I've been to Columbia and I've been to Athens, Georgia. Great fan base, great school. But ever since I went to that Lou Holtz press conference, it's something about them Gamecocks that I love. It's not just the fact that the cheerleaders have on their ass, we love our cocks. It's just the fact that fan base just does something different. I think Athens, Georgia, going to have a tough time today.
Yeah, I don't like that South Carolina stadium. I don't like the location of the stadium.
Which one? You don't like Athens?
No, I don't like the Gamecock Stadium down in South Carolina. No, it's downtown.
You're a Carolina fan. You're not going to like nothing.
Dude, there's nowhere to park in that stadium. There's nowhere to park at all. It's
just like Darlington stadium. Motor Speedway. Where can I park?
Nowhere.
Same thing.
I know.
Same thing.
I know. But I mean, but still, that stadium is like, it's not like, you know how some stadiums are like vertical one way or vertical other. This one's horizontal and crooked. It's not straight. It's crooked. It's like fitting into between 2 big buildings.
That's what she said.
You know, they look like they ran out of room to put this football field. But luckily, it's in Athens. It's between the hedges. But I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown. Georgia stole the hedges because Carolina had the hedges first.
You're right.
You know,
you're right.
You know,
you're definitely right on that. Sports enthusiasts will get that. Yes.
You know, they said, "Oh, the game between the hedges is not the first game between the hedges because Carolina had the hedges for a long time." That's back when the stadium wasn't even fully closed. That's back when they had a high school looking
stadium.
Got
a capacity level, as they call it.
Yeah, I mean, I missed the old. I mean, Carolina did have a good scenery with all the trees in the background before they closed it all up. Now they got it all closed. Then they put the big thing in place of the visiting team building that used to be sitting back there. Now they got
What was the quarterback? Bryce that played with the Panthers. No, what was the quarterback name?
Play for the Panthers. Jake DeLone.
The brother that played for the Panthers.
Durant.
He was a quarterback at South Carolina.
Well, Kerry Collins played for the Panthers. He was at Penn State.
He was a good preseason quarterback. He never played any. I think he probably made 2 games. Craig.
He played at Auburn.
He did come out of Auburn.
Yeah.
He did come out of Auburn. What's the kid I'm thinking of that came out of South Carolina that had big name hype at quarterback? Who was that?
I can't remember, but I know
he didn't pan out.
Nah.
But it's always been a story of South Carolina. They're good in college, but once we get to the next level, something's wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, the quarterback for South Carolina is Zeb Nolan. This guy come out of nowhere. This guy was a broadcaster or something. He was doing something not even related with football for them, and they needed a quarterback, so he just went out and tried out for it and made the team, and they actually started the quarterback for him. He's 2-0. Hey, why not? We had one college pull a fan out of the stand and tell him to go kick field goals. He did pretty good. Now you got this guy coming out of either broadcasting or something out of nowhere, out of doing something else, not even related to football. Come out now, he's 2-0.
What's homeboy that used to play for the Indianapolis Colts, the quarterback that retired, Andrew Luck? Yeah. He said he learned how to read defenses from Madden.
I can see that.
Wow.
I mean, some people do. I mean, there's one guy who's now I can't think of his name. He's a NASCAR driver. He said he learns how to drive tracks by playing in EA Sports NASCAR.
Yeah. I love NASCAR, by the way. Footnote.
Yeah. So I mean, I do too. I was an Earnhardt fan.
Man, I've been over 100 NASCAR races. I was on the highway when the truck had Earnhardt's cart. I was on the highway that day.
I was actually on my way. I left home. I was listening to the race on the radio. I got to my uncle's house, and somehow the radio station went out, and I couldn't hear it. And when I got to my uncle's house, he came outside. He said, "Brace myself," because he knew I was an Earnhardt fan, big time Earnhardt fan. I met Dale Earnhardt plenty of times, and
I met him and his son a few times. I'm gonna say several times.
Yeah, I met him a while. So I mean, you got to understand, North Carolina, Earnhardt,
Carolina basketball and NASCAR all day, and high school football all day.
So. But anyway, so we're looking at this. Can this quarterback for South Carolina go 3-0 today?
That is the question. That make you understand, what are you doing right now? Why aren't you playing college football? I think that's what he had in the transformation of getting that job at South Carolina.
Hey, Nate said there was a guy in the XFL who learned how to play from YouTube.
I remember that story. Yeah, that's a great point. What was his name, the guy that just posted that?
That was Nate.
Nathan, great point, my man. Great point. You are right. I remember that story.
And he said he don't root for BYU in baseball because he roots for TCU for baseball.
Texas Christian University?
Yep.
He's a Horned Frog?
Yeah. So, what is your take and your final score on this game?
And what's this matchup again?
This is the Georgia versus South Carolina. The Bulldogs versus the Gamecocks.
I got South Carolina winning this game 28-25.
Well,
28-25.
I'm going the totally opposite way. I'm going to say Georgia's going to blow them out 38-6. I said this guy from the quarterback from, Zeb Nolan, come out of nowhere. He's going to go back to where he came from because he's getting blown out today. 38-6. Georgia is favored by 32 points, and the over and under is 48.
What's the over under?
48.
I'm going over on that one. Give me that. Give me that all day. I'm all in. I hate I already bet it today. I already laid some cash. I had $100 parlay that could give me $62,000 if I win. If I win, if I pull this off, I missed a trifecta on Lonzo Ball's first game by 1 point, and I'd have won 1.2 million.
Well, let's continue on. Let's go through these next few picks here because we won't get time for the Alabama and Florida game. This will be the number 25 Auburn versus Penn State at number 10. Both teams coming 2-0. What is going on with this game? Who's going to win and why?
It's called a whiteout party for a reason. They're playing at Penn Station. They're there. That's where it's going down at. The Nittany Lions are trying to come back from the catastrophe that we all know about. But other than that, there's been a football team building. Look at what they put in the NFL since then. Look at what the coaching staff has been doing to upgrade these players and utilize their talent. This is one of the better schools I've seen, other than what Herm Edwards is doing out there at Arizona State, of utilizing the talent that's coming in. I got Penn State just destroying this game. Nationally televised game, a whiteout party. They're not going to storm the field, but you're going to think it is. If you have a big screen television at home and the correct lighting system, turn that shit down, tell the kids to be quiet, invite neighbor Ted over, and watch the pregame of this show. You're going to think you're in Disneyland. This is our version of, am I in heaven? No, you're Penn. This is the whiteout party. I got Penn State just destroying this game. They're on the front stage. This is my rent. This is my Hamilton moment. This is the time to do it.
Yeah, I look at it this way here. You got to look at Auburn. Auburn got Bo Nix. He's been brilliant, but he played Akron, Alabama State. He's hitting 75% of his pass, 383 yards, 5 scores, with no picks. I think he's going to turn the ball over at least 2 or 3 times because of Beaver Stadium itself. It's the whiteout game. When they play the whiteout games, they're very unbeatable. You can ask Michigan when they came in there, all the whiteout and stuff. You thought it was snowing and stuff like that. But, I mean, with the whiteout game, Penn State does play pretty good. I think Penn State's going to win, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I think it's going to be 27-20. Penn State is favored by 6. The over and under is 53.5. So you can take your pick. You can go under.
You going under on that.
You can go under or you can go over.
I'm going under on that one. No, because that Penn State defense is going to be a little stingy. I mean, they will allow you to do a 3rd and 7 if it's on this side of the 50, but it's on the other side of the 50. That's when the defense get a little small. And now you got to make decisions that the coach can tell you, or the people upstairs not going to tell you. You got to have that football IQ in you to understand the defense coverage, what's going on. That's when checkdowns come into play. That's when an audibilization comes into play. Do I trust the quarterback of the opposing team to do that? Not right now. But I got Penn State just losing their damn mind in this whiteout party.
Yeah. Well, the next game we're moving to is the Virginia versus North Carolina. The game is at 7:30 Keenan Memorial Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This game will be on the ACC network. Virginia is coming in. North Carolina has lost 4 straight to Virginia. Is this the time for the Tar Heels to turn it around and actually beat Virginia?
Who's the coach again?
Mac Brown at UNC. And then you got who's the Virginia coach?
Mac Brown still has a flip-flop. Mac Brown has passed the tenure. His kids, his wife, his favorite son or daughter needs to tell him the truth. Walk away from the game. Your coaching style doesn't meet up what's going on today. You talk too slow. It's like when people tell you, I got a great story to tell you. Get to the point. And Mac Brown is not getting to the point. That's North Carolina's problem. Yes, they've put out some great, phenomenal talent to the NFL. They've competed in great ACC games. They've created havoc in the month of November. But this game today, I'm telling you, today is the day on coaching decisions. And if kids are going to the NFL, today is the day. Everybody's going to decide. Look at the college football schedule. Look at this game, and you tell me the output and the outcome and get back to me. But Carolina needs this victory. Will they get it? No, not at all.
Well, I'm gonna hold it right there because we have a saying: Mac is back in Carolina. He's the all-time winningest coach in North Carolina. You might think he talks slow, but he talks deliberately. He knows how to get the recruits in there. He's got a lot of recruits in there. He's got a top-tier recruiting class in there. Sam Howell, he is a great quarterback out of the state of North Carolina, up in the mountain areas of North Carolina. I think Sam Howell, I think that game against Georgia State, even though they played Georgia State 59-17, I think they got the offense was starting to roll a little bit. Storm Duck is coming back to one of the top-tier corners on the Carolina defense. Has been out the first 2 games of the season because of his neck injury that he had sustained last year. He's coming back. He should be healthy enough to play. And with Grimes on the other side and Duck on one side, I think the defense is going to get back to where they need to be. I think this is the time that North Carolina will put it up and shut up Virginia. I think North Carolina's offense will start rolling again, and we're going to see them pull this. I don't say an upset, but Virginia's 2-0. We're 1-1. We're number 21 ranked team in the nation. I think Carolina was ranked too high at number 10. I think they should have started at least 25 or out of the thing to get them back. But
I heard of a lot of I think, and I hope, and you're a Carolina fan. So today is going to be a very, very important game for you, apparently. There's a lot of – we know what North Carolina is capable of doing.
Yeah.
But I'm talking right now, knowing what Mac Brown is about. You're not at Texas anymore.
No.
You're not a 50-year-old coach anymore. Can you relate to the players on your team to achieve the goal of getting a W? I'm going to go with a big no.
Well, I'm going to go with a big yes because the team is playing for Matt Brown. They don't fold for Matt Brown. They don't put up and shut up for Matt Brown. They are playing for Matt Brown. They're playing for the Tar Heel team. And I'm going to say this is going to be it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a good game. We're playing in Kenan Stadium. We have a better chance of winning against Virginia in Kenan Stadium than we do in Charlottesville and Scott Stadium. So we're playing in Kenan Stadium. So I think Carolina get it. I think Carolina will win 26-23.
26-20. I like that score.
Carolina is favored by 8 points, and the over and under is 66.5.
I got Virginia winning this in 24-21.
Yeah, I've seen stranger things happen in this series. This is the oldest rivalry in the South. That's what it's labeled. So I mean,
it's like the Hatfield and McCoys.
Yeah, anything can happen in this game, and I have seen anything happen in this game. So we're gonna go ahead and move right along. Well, this game right here, we're gonna do. I'm doing this game because we have 2 analysts on this network: Nate the Great, who's a BYU football fan, and Jay Nesbitt, our other analyst, who's an Arizona State fan. This game is in the building. So this game is Arizona versus BYU. This game is set to take place at 10:15 Eastern Time at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is a neutral site game. So if you want to go bet, you can go bet and then go over to the game and watch what you betted on. This game will be on ESPN network. It's at 10 o'clock. Arizona State and Herm Edwards. So who do you think is going to win this contest?
What was the over-under on that? I didn't hear it.
You ready?
Yeah.
The over and under is 51.5.
Oh, my God. That's like a gimme right there. That is a gimme. I like BYU. I like the history of BYU. The story of Steve Young and Brigham Young and his great-great-grandfather. I like all of that. Doug Flutie. I love all of that about Brigham Young. But history can only do so much. And I just need Brigham Young to give me a W today.
Yeah. A lot of people think that, that too. But I think Herm Edwards has got this team, has got a team that's still up and coming. He's not got all his preference there, all his players he really needs there.
The Sun Devils.
He's got some holes and stuff like that, but I think they have a good football team. I think this is going to be a great game. I think this could be one of the pinpoint games of the of the day. So we're looking at. I'm looking at right here. I'm gonna say BYU does pull an upset, and it's gonna be 27-24 on a last second field goal.
I got Arizona State. Herm Edwards pulling this out. I like his defense. I like his linebacking core. I like how he's talked to his receivers, guys he almost lost, and that running back he almost lost last year due to tragedy in his family. But he's brought these kids back to the program. They believe in Herm Edwards, and they know the story of this dude. From Carolina, by the way, Herm Edwards.
Y'all know.
And Arizona State can win this game 17-10.
So you say the over and under. We both say there's going to be. I
got 17-10, but I like that point spread.
Yeah,
that over under. I like that.
If you go with my score, you have to bet on the over. Actually, no, because I'll be right on even.
Well, with that new gambler now, we can change our bet in the middle of the game, which I love. I love that. You can change your bet in the middle of the game. I love that.
I don't know. I'm not too much of a bet, and my wife will kill me.
Don't tell her.
All right. This is the time. This is the game of the week that I have picked. Alabama versus your Florida State Gators. This game will be taking place at 3:30 Eastern Time. This game is at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida, and CBS. Both teams are coming in at 2-0. Is this the time for Florida to upset Alabama?
This is it.
They're playing in Gainesville. They're playing in front of 90-some thousand fans.
10 years ago. 10 years ago.
You know how much the tickets are, the high price tickets on the third party market. The nosebleed section was going for $285 as of last night.
If you're a Florida Gator fan and you've never been to a game, I don't care if it's watching Florida play at home in the swamp or going to the largest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
but today kind of reminds me of the Chris Leak, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow situation. Cam left. Tebow took over for Chris Leak, and the rest is history. We have Anthony Richardson. He wears number 15.
Is he going to actually play?
6'4", 240. I am telling you, you can't throw schemes and trick plays at Nick Saban. Just play the game of football. Read the defense. React to it. Get out of what the defense is giving to you. If we do that, we could have this is gonna be a fucking shootout. This is gonna be a shootout. Remember that Kansas City football chief and the Patriots game when Brady was still there?
Oh yeah.
That was a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be the same caliber type of effect.
Well, you got to look at it this way too. Richardson got hurt last week. Is he a healthy or is he going to be a scratch?
Hamstring. He practiced. We're all good.
Okay, that's going to be
a practice key. Thursday. We're good.
That's going to be a key. I like him better than freaking Jones. Jones cannot. He's not a top tier passer. He can run the ball, but Nick Saban, you can't run a gimmick quarterback. You can't run a great run and shoot guy out there who runs the ball, who can't pass the ball. You got to have a person that can actually do both. Very good, very well. Richardson gives you a better chance of winning with his arm, and he's more accurate than Jones.
Can I put a footnote on that real quick? I'm going to cut you off, but when Johnny Manziel beat Nick Saban went back to school. He's not going to allow a quarterback to do what Johnny Manziel did to his defensive scheme. He's not going to allow that anymore. Not going to allow. So go on.
Yeah, and you can't really do a dual hit at quarterback because Nick Saban will pick that up real quick because you put Richardson just to pass and put Jones in to run, and he'll tee off his defense that way. So you got to put Richardson is going to give you a better chance to win this game because he can throw the ball. That's what you got to do. but also the big Nick Saban. If you watch Alabama play, Alabama's going to give you all the underneath stuff. They're not going to give you the over top stuff. Teams have big mistakes coming in there trying to run the over the top stuff against Nick Saban. You can nickel and dime Nick Saban's defense down the field. And if you can do that, you might get into the end zone a little bit better than you can trying to deep passes. If Alabama does get if Alabama's defense does get them down where they all make them one sided, then they can tee off on them, and that's going to be in danger of that for Florida. But Florida's playing in front of an 90,000 seat stadium. It's going to be a sellout crowd. So, we're looking at this here. On the flip side, Bryce Young. Is Bryce Young going to keep doing what he's been doing to this Gator defense?
See, that's what I'm trying to figure out about Alabama's offensive intentions. I don't know if it's the run. I don't know if it's a read option. I have no idea what the quarterback intention is. Not every quarterback that's come out of Alabama has been successful in the progression moving forward with a quarterback. So I'm kind of wondering, is this going to be the defensive team that wins this for Alabama and make its presence? Because I don't see nothing from the running back game, the receiving core. I think our linebackers and secondary can sustain a pass out of the backfield or trying to make a deep threat down the field to stretch the game going forward. So I'm trying to figure out Alabama's identity in this game because we all know Nick Saban. You said it already. You can't trick this guy. You got to play football with him. How do you beat Nick Saban football style? Put pressure on that quarterback. That's something no quarterback in Alabama history has ever heard in 10, 15 years. Pressure. They got relaxation.
Right.
They have time to think. They let the play develop. Guys give up on the play because you have 4 to 7 seconds to develop and hold your situation to be in your spot in a natural reaction to a play in football. And if we can do that, that's havoc for Alabama. The officials have to get involved. Maybe the stadium lights go out. Weather comes in. Those 3 things must happen for Alabama to really just outplay us and outbeat us today. That's what will happen. But other than that, some Gators all day.
Well, we won't hear the Gator bait some because that's banned now.
Yeah, we can't do that. I don't even want to get into the whole story about the Gator bait because that blew my mind. I don't know if it's true. I wasn't born back then, but that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you hear that in the stadium, and then all of a sudden, now you got Alabama coming in, can't do it. That's one of the good things about Florida because they had the Gator chomp, and some teams do get riled, but Nick Saban will have his team ready for this game today in Florida because he's pointed out that several times that the media is talking about. But let's talk about Nick Saban's team. They had Kiffin as the offensive coordinator, and then they had Steve Sarkisian as offensive coordinator. Now the new offensive coordinator. Now you said you don't know their identity. He hasn't set his precedent of his identity yet. We don't know exactly. He's telling this offense to Bryce Young because Bryce Young had run all different kinds of offense in Texas. So what are we going to see? What are we going to see? Are we going to see more of an option type game from Alabama than we have ever seen, and make the running backs give you into it, and then we go to a play action pass type game?
Well, I kind of think that if it's an offensive-driven drive in the first quarter, he may come out with a 5-receiver spread. He may do that. He may triple option. We may see that. I go on what the defense is going to show you. But again, Nick Saban likes to do the prerequisite when it comes to the offensive side of the game. He likes to be involved, whether you want him to or not, whether you're the man upstairs or the guy on the sideline with a headset. Nick Saban is still the man. And he's going to try to control the game from the go. And what better way to do it than putting out 5 receivers on the first play?
Yeah, that's a good question, too. If they put out 5 receivers in the first play, that Florida might get Florida out of the game because Florida's probably expecting running back and the odd running back or the one single running back formation type deal. That's what they normally start off with. But if Nick Saban does decide to come out there and throw a freaking five receivers out there, I like to see that.
Man, I don't think he's an option quarterback at all, but he can get you 5 to 7 yards. So keep that in mind. You need a spy still on the quarterback for Alabama if you're Florida defense. You need a spy on him at all times, no matter what, because that's still Nick Saban.
Right.
He has a method to the madness and what he believes in.
And
Here's the play. Here's the play, how it should go. But if these pieces move, here's the other alternative that you have. And if you don't take advantage of that, you're going to see Saban pull off his headset and get in somebody's face.
So you're looking at this. This is the second time Alabama has played a ranked team. They played Miami. It was ranked number 14 when they played the first game of the season. Now they come in and play the number 11 Florida Gators. This is the first SEC game of the for both teams here. So what are we gonna see? Are we gonna see a explosion of points? Or are we just gonna see a one-sided Alabama and Florida? Just trying to play catch up.
This game makes me nervous. I want to see an infusion in points, but I want to see our defense make a name for itself on the points on our side. Let's light this motherfucker up. I'm sorry. Let's light this scoreboard up. If we have the capabilities and the opportunity to put up 70-plus points, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's hashtag the 90s and 80s in football, college football, when they just lit up the scoreboard. Chicks dig the long ball. Chicks dig high-scoring football college games. Let's go. But I don't know, man, because Nick Saban and that defense, they have a way of doing things that people forgot. He can find a redshirt freshman that no one has heard about to go in a game on a substitution play on a 3rd and 7 and make a big-time game-changing play. That's what he has on the bench. These are the starters for Alabama. Look at the bench.
Yeah, I agree with you on this point, but the point here, we got to see Alabama. They don't care. They just don't care. They don't care who they play. This is the time and point. They've been on top since Nick Saban's been back. This is, Alabama's back to their national championship ways and stuff. Their dynasty is intact. They just keep reloading. Why is Nick Saban so successful on a recruiting trail to have like a minor league team waiting to step in when they lose their key players?
You know what? He knows how to talk to people. When you know how to talk to people, that means you have great listening skills. I don't know what his major is. He may be a psych major or a sociology major, but Nick Saban has those ingredients to go into a home, no matter what your background financially, your upbringing is. He knows how to go into that home and close the deal. In the old salesmanship days, they say coffee is for closers. That's Nick Saban. He knows how to close the deal. He knows how to find what he's looking for and convince them to come to Bama. Roll Tide.
Now, if you look at Dan Mullen, he was at Florida as an offensive coordinator. He went to Mississippi State for the Bulldogs. Now came back to.
He knows how to produce quarterbacks.
Yeah, he knows how to tool his quarterbacks. I understand that, but if this game was played last year with Trask, you might have a better chance of winning than you do.
No, I do not. I don't. That's a great question as well. I didn't think as highly as Trask as everybody else thought. It's like when you do what you're supposed to do and people award you when you're a teenager, living rent-free, and you make your bed, you eat your breakfast, you hug your parents before you leave the house, you take out the trash. I'm not giving you extra points for that. That's what you're supposed to do. He did what he was supposed to do. You find the open guy. You let the yak kick in, the yards after the catch, and that's what Kyle Pitts did for him. Kyle Pitts perpetuated his NFL moment for Trask. He got him in the Atlanta Falcons football camp. He did that. It wasn't Trask. If you throw to the open person, that's what happens. But we deem these as Oh my God, he was a great quarterback. The guy was open.
Yeah,
If you throw the ball to the open receiver, great things happen.
but I mean, Trash Hat did have a good story behind it.
Yeah,
I
look,
mean,
I'm not knocking what he did.
Callum Murray and all that. Never played it down, and then he gets to go to Florida on a scholarship. SEC school, not really playing in high school.
Right.
I mean, because he sat behind Colin Murray the whole time, and somebody saw something in him. But now Dan Mullen's got his guy. I mean, you got two of them. You got Richardson. And you got Avery. Jones.
I'm telling you, this dude Richardson, man, this reminds me of Tim Tebow. This is early in the collegiate football season, but for some reason, this guy reminds me, not playing like Tim Tebow at all, but I mean the story of how he got into the team, the starting job, that whole Florida path. This guy has Tim Tebow written all over him. I don't know if Tebow's going to speak to the team today. I hope he does.
Yeah,
but
and
this guy's something else, man.
And then you got, they say Florida's quarterback Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson from getting into space. There will be a problem, but it doesn't help because to be without NFL linebacker Christopher Allen to what appears to be a season-ending foot injury, and with the next level hybrid pass rusher Will Anderson hobbling with a knee problem. So there's some problems on the defensive side with Christopher Allen and then Willie Anderson hobbling with his knee problem. So is that a problem for Alabama defense?
I think he's prepared for the objective and the challenge with his coaching staff, his expectations of his coaching staff and his players. I think Saban's going to be ready because when you have that A-lister athlete on that line and they can't do job A, but you have a guy on the sideline, he might not be the physicality of the guy that you desire on that line, but he can do things that other guy can't do, but he's just not starting. But today is his day. Today is his day to prove to coach, I'm just as good, but I'm not ready to start, but I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you need me, coach. Again, I think today is going to be one of the best days to show talent, show your appreciation for your coach, and show off your talent that we've ever seen in college football. Today, throughout all college football, today is going to be that day.
Yeah, and then we're looking at some here. We'll come right back from the commercial break here. We'll talk a little bit more about the Florida versus Alabama game that's taking place in Gainesville, Florida, which is only 184 miles away from me.
Uh-oh. Road trip.
Not a road trip for $225.
Oh, we got that. That's what we put in our front pocket. We're Navy men.
Yeah, so we'll be right back.
All right.
This is the Fonx D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at fonxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the ASAP College Breakdown. We are in the Game of the Week segment, which is the last hour of the telecast. We got the Alabama Crimson Tide, what they say, Roll Tide against the Gator Chomp. We can't say Gator Bait no more, so we just say the Gator Chomp. Dre is a Gator fan. He got his Gator decked out. Well, we're going to see how happy he will be after the game, or will he be crying after the game?
I'm still going to be happy. I'm still going to be happy. Win, lose, or draw, I'm still going to be happy. I've already predicted I'm going to have the worst sports year ever. I'm a Cardinal baseball fan. I'm a Florida Gator football fan. I'm a Denver Bronco fan. I'm a Kentucky basketball fan. And I'm a Laker NBA fan. This is going to be a bad year for me. Bad year. I don't see none of us winning shit.
I am a Atlanta Braves fan in baseball. I am a Carolina fan in basketball and football in college. I am a Charlotte Hornets fan in NBA. I'm a Carolina Hurricane fan in the hockey. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar because I am a season ticket holder for them, and we will beat the Broncos this week.
How are we even doing a show together? We have nothing in common.
What do we do? We're Navy guys. I get along with anybody, so I mean, I ain't got to have
you a Jaguar fan. Tony Baselli days.
That's right.
Came in the league the same year as the Carolina Panthers. Man, They beat the Broncos in that playoff game that we took for granted with the left-handed wonder.
And then they come back and fly over the top of the – Coughlin made them come back and fly over the top of the stadium in the airplane. And the whole stadium was filled like it was a football game.
There it is.
So
there it is.
But anyway, we're getting back here. So we got some interesting compel here. We got young – I got a question for you. Why hasn't college defensive coordinators – try to describe their defense differently to younger players that are just starting for the first time?
I blame the high school coaches. So the high school coaches have a lot of influence on these kids going into a program. Everybody that plays in college football has been an All-American. Mr. State, Mr. This. They all coming in with that chip on their shoulder. So now you got to deprogram that kid. I don't know, you have kids outside of your marriage or not, and you split child care or whatever. But normally when people get their kid back after visiting their mom or dad and they pick them up that Sunday, that kid has been around some shit Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that nobody can understand. You got to deprogram your kid, and that's what college football coaches on the defensive side are trying to do. That buying into the program is bullshit. You got to get all of them. You can't do this as an individual mission. Bring all these kids in. I'm going to talk to the whole defensive squad. Everybody on defense. Get in here. Let's talk. What do you want out of this? Do you like this play? What play best benefits you? But I also want on the other side, there are a lot of a lot of college players and NFL players can't fucking read. So that's hard when you have a playbook that describes schematically how you should figure this out. So the defensive coaches have a tough job to believe in the system. I think a defensive coach has a harder time more than the head coach.
Yeah, I look at it this way. I mean, if you look
especially in college.
I take a analogy. NFL defensive coordinators know how to describe to a rookie quarterback. Look at what Lovie Smith did to Trevor Lawrence. Even though Trevor Lawrence did throw for 300-some yards and 3 touchdowns, he had 3 interceptions too. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, I mean, you got to know a little bit about reading defense and stuff like that. To me, in college, the defensive coordinator doesn't really do that because, I mean, I would have set up some different schemes and different schematics for, Bryce Young with something that he hasn't seen yet. What kind of blitz package, blitz from different directions. We have not really seen teams take advantage of like a corner blitz on Alabama. Are teams scared to actually run a blitz on Nick Saban's team?
I would say yes, but I think that's the first you can pull that off and call them a blitz on this type of quarterback. We haven't really seen his true execution against SEC defense outside of the pocket. His read and reaction. When the play is covered, what are we going to do with the ball? Today could possibly be that day to take advantage of that, learn from that, or execute from that. So to me, if I'm the coordinator, you can't trick Nick Saban. But I'm coming out what I truly believe in. If I'm a passing school, boom, I'm giving you 5 receivers out. If I'm a running school, I'm putting 2 backs in backfield all times because that offensive line has things that nobody has ever seen unless it's on a Sunday, and these are college kids. I've never seen anybody recruit so many people on a high level of 300-plus pounds that can run a 4.240. Nick Saban does.
Yeah, I mean, you got some special athletes over there, and especially on the weight side and everything else. But to me, if they run a blitz and stuff like that, the Gators can get some blitz in and get some pressure and try to rattle Young, and we might see a more animated Nick Saban on the sideline that we have ever seen in the past 3 or 4 years.
Right.
Uh, to me, I think the Gators will have to run some gaming blitz or try to mix up their blitz some two different ends or a linebacker or even bring a safety or a corner blitz in, at different times. And I know what works best sometimes is a delayed blitz. If you
Oh,
get them there,
the delayed blitz is beautiful, but I hate when teams call it and it's a two backfield
yeah, you can't
because there's
call
going to
it.
be a hesitation on the second back.
Yeah.
He's gonna pick it up. Now we got a tight end wide open or receiver stretching the field.
Yeah, the delay blitz is good on a one back,
Yes.
and if the one back don't know how to pick up a block or anything like that.
That's
So
that defensive audible we're gonna do. That's when we do this.
yeah,
So you see that going on today, we blitz.
yeah. So I mean,
I hope nobody from the opposing Alabama nation is listening to this because now they're gonna call Nick Saban and say, Coach, when they do this, Dre Montez said they blitzing. So now they get a little cover scheme. Damn it.
yeah, but I mean, to me, only person that's an Alabama fan on this thing is Freddie. So I mean, Freddie's like all over the place when he if you notice, all his teams are winners except for the Giants.
Yes, big time.
So I mean,
Big.
to me, our president is scared to lose games and stuff to be with teams that actually lose a little bit here and there. But anyway, still, but if you look at this Alabama team and you look at the Florida Gator team, you look at them paper, Alabama's a much more thing. But we played the game on the field. What is going to take? I mean, if you look at the heat here in Florida, it's a different heat than it is in Alabama. Alabama doesn't practice in these type of heats like Gators. Gators don't have an indoor practice facility, so they have to practice in the heat outside. So tradition and hydration is going to be a factor. Will we see a lot of cramping for Alabama in this game on key players at key situations?
No, I think pickle juice and the fact that Nick Saban, I know it's been 10 years since they've been to the swamp, but they still have played in some crazy weather situations throughout the years. And I think the players are going to be prepared. I really do on both sides of the team, especially Florida. But at the same sense, there's going to be somebody stepping up on Alabama that we haven't heard from all damn year. All year on the offensive side, whether it's a receiver or a running back or a tight end or an offensive lineman, it's going to be talked about very highly. But I don't think these weather conditions are it's been talked about, but I think the team's already prepared because Alabama is not like luxury weather, 75 degrees year round. Neither is Florida. They both have weather that makes you cuss when you go outside. And if you play a particular sport and you know what heat does to your body, they're prepared for this.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it this way, if you look at two different things, that goes around. If you look at it here in this game, you got Florida as a hot weather team, but they're not really. Alabama is still in the summertime and still not in the wintertime. So I mean, you still got the South, the midst of the heat and thing. But we know Nick Saban keeps his players hydrated and stuff like that. But some players will get cramp and stuff like that. So who will have advantage? And we know Alabama has their depth chart. They have about 5 or 6 depth charts, team. Now, for the Gators, where are the Gators are lacking in their depth at on their defense and their offense?
The linebacking core can do a better job of read and react to the play. We're a little late. 1 to 2 seconds is a long time. in the world of sports. That's a long time. Talk to Major League Baseball officials. Talk to Dez Bryant. Was that a catch or not a catch? That 1 or 2 seconds have a big influence on if you can do your job or not. And if that defense, that linebacking core can understand what they're doing, the initiative of that particular play that we call, you got to execute. If they don't, it's going to be a long day for the Florida defense. Long day.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's gonna be that's gonna be a that's gonna be a key. That's gonna be a key in the way this game is gonna be transformed here. So 2 points here that we're gonna have. If Alabama gets that running game going with a play action pass and all that stuff, will Bryce Young have a good day, or will Florida actually make him have one of his worst games of the season?
I think if everybody does their job, what they're supposed to do, and follows the game plan, this could be a low-scoring game, but we know how Florida and Alabama play. We know how the SEC rolls. We know the inflection of being on a nationally televised game. It's going to be a crazy game. Things are going to happen that nobody has seen in a long time. You're going to wow the TV. You're going to yell, maybe even break it. But in the end, just go with the game plan.
Right. So now we talked about intermediate and short passes and stuff like that. That's the art laws when team play Alabama. They don't try to do the quick slants. They don't try to do the quick ends or the quick outs, and they try to do more of the 10 to 15-yard slant routes and try to do the double moves. Alabama's corners doesn't set themselves up to do the double moves. They don't bite on the double moves. How will the Gators wide receiver get some separation from Alabama's corners?
Man, I'm glad you brought that up. For one reason, I've seen Alabama football quarterbacking history of the past 15 years. The way they broke it down is no matter what, if you're not on the spot, the quarterback is going to throw the ball. So the advantage of the defense of Florida is to stay with your man. Don't leave him. Don't help nobody out. Do your job. I can see potential turnovers by this happening because no matter what, he's throwing the ball to the spot. You should be where you're at. If he doesn't look to the left or the right, be on pre-snap and bag up or move his hands or put his hand up to his neck, they're calling the same play. And if we're already locked in for that play, that's a plus for Florida in a big way.
Yeah, if you look at that, that's a key concept there, because if you don't have your receivers who can do double moves and try to get open that way, that's the one advantage for Alabama's defense. That's why they're so strong, and sometimes that corners don't bite on it. But then again, if you get some corners that are real young for Alabama, they might take 1 or 2 bites, and then Nick Saban will jump on that case when they come to the sideline, and they won't take no bites no more. So that's another thing that you got to look at. You got to look at here. So
it's a whole lot of that. I mean, it's so much to comment on, piggyback on, extend the conversation on when it comes to Alabama in this Florida matchup right here. Because what Nick Saban has done, proven us, whether right or wrong, he's always come out on top. And he always has the great or perfect answer. But I think for a minute, man, this may be since it's been a minute since he had a quarterback. He's not relying on his feet or his decisions when the play breaks down. This is a guy that's doing what he's supposed to do. Here's the play you give me, coach. I'm going to do what the play you told me to do. I'm going to call it. But somebody moved in the wrong direction. I know I have a second option if I have enough time. And if I have a whole lot of time, I got a third option. But if I don't have enough time, what do I do? And that's where we're at right now with Alabama's quarterback. What do I do if the pressure is applied within 5 seconds? What do I do?
Right.
It's called a pick six or a scoop and score.
That's another thing too. When you brought that up too, I was thinking about that. So Florida will have to. What team has a minimum error they can have to actually still win this game? Is it Alabama or is it Florida?
That's Florida. There can be no errors, can be no fumbles. Once you cross the 50, you have to put points on the board. On the other side of the 50, you must do what, kids? Minimize the opportunity for the other team to score, which means putting them in difficult situations beyond the 20. That's it. That's a simple game plan. That's how Florida can win the game. Score every time we get the ball on this side of the 50. Keep them on negative sides of the 50 when we're kicking the ball off. That's a win-win. You're winning with morale points with the defense, so to speak. And then the offense gets motivated by that.
Yeah, I mean, so this is one of the takes I got to talk about here. If Florida can keep confidence in this game all game long, and they keep their way of thinking, will the pressure flip from Florida to Alabama if the game is really close?
The pressure would definitely be on Alabama. Look at what they're trying to sustain, not just a record, not just the name itself, not with the acronym, but that's Nick Saban. He does not appreciate failure. Have you ever listened to his YouTube, his motivational videos, the way he selects his sponsors for himself, not the school, but for him? This guy does not understand mediocrity. No way possible. You must come all in with this dude. Bless his kids.
Yeah, that's true too. And
But that still falls upon the line of a perfect college football game. There's no such thing. If Florida does what they're supposed to do, and Alabama does what they're supposed to do, Alabama's going to win. Somebody has to fall off tier. It's an impossible thing to sink a ship. I don't care if you watch Titanic or heard the story, but it's impossible. You must learn to utilize the even kill. And if you're not doing that, you got the lopsided effect.
Now,
I don't want that to happen, but if both teams do what they're supposed to do, close game. But somebody's going to have a hiccup, whether it's coming out 5 wide. What's the linebacker showing that he's blitzing early? But I got a quarterback that can read that. There's somebody going to be wide open, tight end, slot receiver. We don't know. But somebody's going to read that coverage and take advantage of it.
Now, we talking about you talking about 5 wide and stuff like that. What kind of formation will Florida have to put out there to make Alabama defense readjust their alignment? Because if you look at most games for Alabama, their defense don't readjust to any offensive formation. They're set-based formation. Pretty much, they put their, if they come out there 5 wide, they put a nickel dime in there, but they don't change that base 7. The base 7 stays the same. They might just drop one linebacker out, might add a corner for that, to match up with the receivers for the other team. But their concept's still the same in their nickel and their base. What formation can Florida stick out there to make Alabama have to readjust their defense?
With Florida having the ball or Alabama having the ball?
When Florida has the ball.
When Florida has the ball, here's what I would like to see on the offensive side. Let's see if they can cover our speed first. First drive, let's see if they can cover our speed. Whether we complete the pass or not, let's see if they can cover the speed downfield. Then, after that, okay, let's do a little RPO. Let's do that. Why not? In reminiscence of the great Jamel Holloway at Oklahoma, I want to see can Anthony Richardson pull this off. Because we, on our right side and our left side, our tackles on both sides, they have wide asses and big thighs. They can do their job. They can do their job. I think we have the sexiest offensive line in college football. when it comes to knowing your job, doing your job, and understanding what you should be doing between that 3 and 5 seconds of a play. Do it. I think we're the best at it. Now we got to utilize that. It's like dating a hot woman. Are you utilizing the opportunity, or you letting it go by? You got to use the hot woman to your benefit to help you go further. And Florida must utilize whatever's happened on the defensive side or offensive side, what's going to be given to us today to get the dub. If we get that W today, I'm fine with it. But there's going to be crucial conflict, hidden intangibles. The official's going to do something stupid. And some young college kid is going to do something stupid because God knows what he did last night. I don't know what Becky did to him last night, but he's going to think about it in the middle of the game. It's going to be a bad decision.
Yeah, I look at this. I've been looking at the stats right now while you were talking and stuff like that. The offensive leaders as a team, Florida is number 1 in the SEC, over 609.5 yards. Alabama comes in at number 5, 462.5. But if you break it down, Alabama comes in at number 3 in passing with 310, but Florida is leading the SEC in rushing for 381.5. So now you got a different blend here. You got a top 3 passing team in the SEC against a number 1 rushing team in the SEC. So
I think both teams are going to come out with their first possession, trying to show you what they saw on game film, what Alabama saw about Florida, what Florida saw about Alabama. I think both teams' first possession is going to be key in a victory or loss for my Florida football Gators. We got to pay attention. That's film. They say camera don't lie, balls don't lie. That camera don't lie. Here's all your business. Here it is what you really did. And if they did their homework, they can find out what Alabama weakness is and what Florida weakness is. How do we take advantage of this today to win the game?
Well, and I'm going to flip it on the other side here. We talk about the offensive numbers and where they stand in the SEC. That's where we stand in the defensive side. Alabama's ranked number 5 in defense, allowing 502 yards that break down 251 per game. That's what they allowed. They allowed for passing 347 yards, 173 yards per game, and rushing they only allowed 155 yards a game, but only allowing 77 yards per game. They're giving up 20. Their defense is giving up 27 points total, but they're only giving up 13.5 a game. So that's going to have to be something that Florida is going to have to do. But if you look at it there, Florida's near the tail end of the SEC in defense. They're giving up 650 yards total, but they're giving up 325 yards per game. The breakdown is they're giving up 224 yards, 0.5 yards passing, and they're giving up only 100.5 yards rushing per game. But their defense is giving up 34 points total this year, but they're only giving up 17 points per game. So you got a defense that's giving up, 13.5. You got another defense that's giving up 17. But your offensive numbers here are stagnated here because both teams are putting up points in games. They're putting up 46 for Alabama per game, and Florida is coming in putting up 38.5 per game. So that's what you're going to tell because you got the defense and you got a tail end defense and the mid-pack defense of the SEC in Alabama and a lot towards the end for Florida. What has to give for Florida? Florida has to force turnovers. We know that. That's got to be key. If Florida
if you get Alabama at a 3rd and 6 and beyond, there's an opportunity for interception. That right there, you get them beyond a 3rd and 5, there's a chance for a pick 6 or just a turnover. But with the statistical point of the game, the points per game by Florida and Alabama, here's my thing on this. Look who Bama's played. Look who Florida played. When do we put on the pressure? When do we relax? It's too early to term. I think this weekend, the points per game is really going to come into fruition with everybody in college football. This is the weekend to decide everything, whether we're buying in or buying out. But back to the point here, if you can't run the ball against Alabama, you're going to end up throwing the ball. Alabama does not get a lot of interceptions, but they defend the play well. So they end up punting the ball. A lot of 3 and outs. A lot of 3 and outs. On Florida side, we can convert a 3rd and 8, but not a 3rd and 2. And that's dangerous and crazy at the same time. But playing against this team with a 3rd and 8, they're going to expect the quarterback to run, get out of the pocket, we shoot no, instead of throwing the ball. So got to watch out for those matchups. With Florida facing Alabama on a 3rd+4 situation, Bama's going to try to run the ball. They're not going to throw the ball. They're going to try to run the ball because that's Nick Saban.
Yeah.
So I think this game, if both teams do what is quote unquote taught to do, I see a close game, man, a close game. But it's not going to be that way. It's going to be a blowout, lopsided game on somebody's side.
Yeah, because you talk about time of possession. Alabama time of possession so far this year is 33 minutes and 24 seconds.
Oh, he can hold the ball.
Yeah.
That first possession is key.
And then
Their first possession, they utilize the tight end, the rolling running back out of the backfield, stretching the line on the left side, the receiver, using a slot in a damn I-form formation. They're the best at that, doing it. They pulled that off better than anybody.
Right. If you look at the tail of the tape, I went to the ESPN matchup predictor and all that. Alabama's favored 71.4% to 28.6% for Florida. That's probably all the Florida Gator fans voting for the Gators.
I love statistics like that. I want to break the damn barrier today.
So
I want to set off the seismograph if we win tonight.
So if you look at the passing, this is interesting here. Look at the passing. You have Bryce Young, 46 out of 65 for 571 yards for 7 touchdowns. Emory Jones is 31 out of 49, 264 yards with 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Now listen to this. The rushing game, Robinson Jr., 22 carries for 130 yards, 1 touchdown for Alabama. Richardson, 11 carries, 275 yards with 2 TD. That's your quarterback right there. You know,
yes, sir. 6'4", 240.
Yeah. So then your receiving core, Williams for Alabama, 7 receptions, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Copeland, 6 receptions, 190 yards with 2 touchdowns. So they're even at the wide receiver spots between those 2 guys. So what the interesting here, we get in the tail of the tapes here, is Alabama is averaging 46.0 a game, 38.5. Points allowed is 13.5 for Alabama, 17 point for the Gators. We talked about the defense with 460 total yards, 462 to 609 for offense. So Florida has a little bit of better offense, but the passing yards is Alabama 310 to 228. Rushing yards 152 for Alabama to 381.5 for Florida. So Florida's dominating the running game between the 2 teams right now. But Alabama's got them by 90 more yards in passing.
Right. I mean, they have a passing quarterback, like a guy that wants to stay in the pocket. He does not want to run the ball, which could really help our linebacking and secondary core if we know that going into the game. That hidden agenda, let's say he decides to run or do some RPOs. Now we got to call a TV timeout situation.
Well, we're getting to that point of the show here. We're almost out of time here. We got about, we're over a little bit. We'll go over a little bit here. 12 o'clock kickoff's already started here. For your pick of the game, what is your final score of this Alabama-Florida game?
40-14 Alabama. I'm a Gator fan.
40-14?
Yeah.
Well, you put in a blowout. I'm going to say the Swamp has got some mistakes in it. It's got some things. It's going to keep the game close because they're playing in front of the crowd. Pandemic, they didn't play in front of the crowd. The crowd's back. It's sort of like the Virginia Tech and Carolina analogy type deal. The home crowd is going to help for a little while. I think the game is going to be a little bit closer. I think Alabama wins 38-30.
38 to what?
30.
I like that. I appreciate that, Carolina. Go Tar Heels.
So, but Alabama comes in with a 15-point favorite. The over and under is 58.5.
What's the over under?
58.5.
Oh, that's scary. I would take the under. I would take the under on this. I would definitely take the under.
Yeah. So I'm giving a little credit to Florida's defense. I'm giving a little credit to their offense a little bit there. But I'm gonna tell you, if Richardson gets in there and plays better,
chosen one. The chosen one.
Yeah, it plays then Emory Jones. I don't think we see Emory Jones that much in this game. If Richardson is going to be the fact, I think this game is going to prove Richardson to be the quarterback of the future for Florida.
I don't want him to start. I do not want him to start. No, because that is the hidden intangible that Nick Saban is prepared for. He's already prepared for this guy to come in the game, but not the first possession.
Right.
Bring this dude in the third possession.
I think what Dan Mullen always does. He'll play him first and then bring him in later on. But if Emory Jones is doing the job right now, I wouldn't see him switching it.
I want to know if Dan Mullen's wife still kisses the players in the mouth.
I don't know. That's a good question.
She did that.
You might have to fly down. You might have to fly down to Gainesville and a half. But this has been a great show. Dre Montez joining me. He will be here every Saturday breaking down the show. He's my new co-host on the ASAP College Breakdown. I'm Ray Cruz. I am your host. And we're getting ready for the kickoff. If kickoffs haven't already started, but get ready. The game is at 3:30. The Alabama and Florida in Gainesville, 184 miles away from me, due south.
Good luck to your Tar Heels, by the way. And good luck to everybody's college football team today and your betting pool. If you're gambling today, good luck to you.
So, and thanks for the Fox Network letting us be on today for this 3 hour. We from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Every Saturday you can catch me and Dre breaking down the latest college football news and reports and get you ready for the game of the day of the last hour. So I hope you enjoy. Peace out.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.